Chapter 4650 Boom. I saw a long sword blocking the huge long knife. It was a dragon blood warrior who blocked the man's knife. The man cut off his blood, and the power of destiny swept the sky, but such a terrible knife was forcibly blocked by the dragon blood warrior. Isn't it good to live well? Poof! The dragon blood soldier shook his head. Suddenly the figure flashed and disappeared in an instant. The creature was shocked and hurried back. At the moment he retreated, the blood light splashed and a head rose to the sky. The creature's huge body retreated several steps and retreated into the clan camp, but his head failed to retreat. Choke! The dragon blood warrior also put his sword into the scabbard. At the moment he put his sword into the scabbard, the creature's head fell to the ground, and then the headless body he retreated slowly fell down. Those creatures were surprised and angry. They knew that Longchen and others were not easy to provoke, but their origin was amazing and never paid attention to others. They could see that Dragon Dust was the leader here, so the creature went for Dragon Dust, but unexpectedly, an ordinary soldier ended one of their strong men with one move. This also means that there are more than 7,000 people in the Dragon Blood Legion, and each of them is no worse than them. More than a dozen of them don't see enough in front of the Dragon Blood Legion. You are so brave that even our barbarians dare to provoke us. Report your name. A creature roared. Barbarians? When they heard the name, Guaran and others changed their faces. When they saw that the faces of the people changed, the strong men of the barbarians immediately became arrogant, thinking that they were frightened by the name of the barbarians. Boss. Guaran and others looked at Longchen. There are many kinds of barbarians, and there are also good and evil. You can see that they are not good by looking at their eyebrows and flesh. A man is a noble bloodman family. It has nothing to do with them. There's nothing to worry about. Dragon Dust shook his head. He knows what people are worried about. They are afraid that these people and Amon are clansmen. In that case, it will be difficult to explain when they see Amon. Longchen saw at a glance that these people have barbarian blood, but different from a man, their blood is full of tyranny and bloodthirsty. On the contrary, Longchen doesn't believe there will be any close relationship between them. Therefore, when the dragon blood warrior killed, he didn't mean to stop, and didn't even bother to ask their origin. Bloody? When they heard these two words, it was the turn of the strong men of the barbarians, and their faces changed. Go hearing the word, bloody man, the strong men of the barbarians showed a look of fear on their faces, immediately took away the bodies on the ground and left sadly. Hey, my strength can be comparable to the 8-star destiny. It's great. When the barbarians left, the dragon blood warrior showed his excitement. Before, they were all frightened by each other's violent chi and blood and the power of destiny, but unexpectedly, they had reached that height unconsciously. Boss, let's go through the robbery together. Everyone is ready. Guyong excited tunnel. Other people also look forward to it. Only after the baptism of natural disaster can they really digest the harvest in the 10,000 dragon nest. When they step into the realm of God, they can really stand in the forest of the strong. It's you. Dragon Dust corrects the right path. Boss, are you not with us? Hearing this, Guaran and others were disappointed. Not this time. I have too many causes and consequences. If you cross the robbery together, you will be implicated by me. You go through the robbery first. It'll help you protect the Dharma. After you finish the robbery, I need your help. Dragon Dust's face is serious. Longchen has a premonition that many terrorist causes and consequences will be cleared up this time. Last time, his natural disaster was a narrow escape. Without the help of his father and the encouragement of Aunt Gong, Longchen will die. But that robbery was a trick. This trick may not be a good thing. It is likely to be accumulated in the next robbery. This time, Longchen plans to really fight against Tianjia. Tianjia wants to liquidate him. He also wants to liquidate Tianjia. Longchen has a hunch that this time the disaster will be very difficult. He doesn't dare to let his brothers take risks with him. Let's go! Gu Yang took a deep breath, and everyone in the Dragon Blood Legion held their breath. Then there was a dull sound in their bodies, as if something had broken. Then their breath rose like a tsunami, and the pillars of light rushed into the sky. Buzz, at the moment when everyone broke through together, the whole world suddenly trembled. Those strong men who were crossing the robbery in the distance turned their heads one by one and looked at the Dragon Blood Legion. Their faces were dull and their mouths were wide open. Although collective robbery is not an independent specialty here, more than 7,000 people cross robbery at the same time. They have never heard of or seen this phenomenon. Asshole, they have lived enough and want to bury us together. The strong people who are crossing the robbery in the distance roar angrily. So many people cross the robbery together, which is clearly going to commit suicide. Boom! Just then, the whole world trembled, and the robbery clouds surged on the sky, like 10,000 horses galloping, and like 100 rivers returning to the sea, all gathered to the Dragon Blood Legion. Those strong people who are crossing the robbery are shocked to find that the power of their natural robbery begins to decrease. These robbery clouds, like soldiers on the battlefield, hear the assembly number and don't intend to pay attention to them, but assemble to the Dragon Blood Legion. In this way, some of the strong who are nearing the end of the robbery send out thunderous cheers, and the robbery leaves, which means that their robbery has been completed. You know, the first half of a robbery is to absorb the power of thunder, strengthen the body and soul, and reap benefits as quickly as possible. The second half is the real robbery, because in the second half, the body is already in a saturated state. At this time, the goal is not to die after being ravaged by heaven, even if it is successful. Those strong people who have already reaped the benefits but do not have to take risks after half the robbery are cheering and shouting with excitement. But those strong people who just started to cross the robbery shouted abuse. Tianjia was sucked away by the Dragon Blood Corps. They chased Tianjia behind, just like a lamb chasing a ewe to eat milk. It was embarrassing and funny. The Dragon Blood Legion's collective robbery almost attracted all the robbery clouds within hundreds of millions of miles around. Countless strong people had to chase the robbery clouds. The scene was both spectacular and strange. The clouds cover the sky and block out the sun. The more they accumulate, the thicker they become. It's like the whole sky has collapsed. Boom! Suddenly, the robbery cloud trembled, and the thunder torrent with a diameter of thousands of miles poured down with the momentum of thunder. When they saw the terrible thunder torrent, the eyes of countless people were full of horror. They saw such a terrible thunder for the first time in their lives. You know, this is the first wave of thunder. The prestige contained is more than 10 times stronger than their last wave of thunder. It's killing people. Kill. At the moment when the thunder torrent poured, the people watching from a distance were stunned by the scene in front of them. The Dragon Blood soldiers roared and roared to the sky. They went upstream and rushed directly into the robbery cloud. The strong people who saw this scene will have their eyes protruding. www.mylovenovel.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4651 Boom. The Dragon Blood soldiers went up against the current and directly rushed into the robbery cloud. When they entered the robbery cloud, they were like a group of lawless thugs, crazy attacking the robbery cloud. The sword chi surged, and the sky was pierced with big holes, like a horse honeycomb. The strong outside, have you ever seen such a picture? One by one, they opened their mouths. Is this a group of madmen? Boom! The Dragon Blood soldiers frantically attacked the robbery cloud. It seemed that they were going to explode the robbery cloud. The endless thunder was torn and smashed, and the world was shaking. When they attacked Rob Cloud, it seemed that heaven and earth were angered. More and more Rob Cloud gathered, and the threat of Rob Cloud became more and more terrible. A bunch of bastards, you want to die. Don't bother us. Those strong people who had robbed around the Dragon Blood Legion were crying bitterly. Their Tianjia was absorbed by the Dragon Blood Legion, forming a peerless Tianjia. Because they didn't complete the thunder forging, they had to follow, otherwise they couldn't advance to the divine realm at all. The normal disaster intensity is strengthened bit by bit. It is the easiest to absorb at the beginning. Give them time to improve themselves to cope with the subsequent disaster test. But here, it's different. The Dragon Blood Legion directly pushed the Tianjia to the most violent state. If they want to absorb the power of Tianjia, they need to risk their lives. Even if it is only absorbed at the edge, one by one is like facing the abyss and walking on thin ice. For fear that if one is not careful, he will be smashed by heaven's robbery. Boom! Suddenly, there was a startling explosion. The heaven and earth trembled and split through the ages. The endless robbery clouds burst into colorful lights. The dragon blood soldiers who rushed into the robbery fell into the ground from the robbery clouds like meteors. At this time, the natural disaster was like an enraged dragon. It trembled violently, and endless thunder monsters swooped down and roared to kill. These thunder monsters, one by one, are like mountains roaring like thunder, and their momentum is soaring. They have flying phoenix, swimming dragon, mysterious turtle, divine tiger, and countless strange animals they have never seen. Boom boom. All of them were furious and had endless killing intention. They rushed to the Dragon Blood Legion with the will to destroy the heaven. Boom, a dragon blood warrior, holding a long sword, cut it on the beast's head, and the beast burst to pieces. However, to everyone's shock, the long sword in the dragon blood warrior's hand was also broken. What? The dragon blood warrior was shocked, and Guaran was also shocked. He knew how strong the weapon he made himself was, and it was shattered by a thunder beast. How strong is this thunder beast? You know, this is the first wave of thunder beast. According to this calculation, isn't it going to be over? This is an ancient heavenly robbery, which contains the will to destroy in the ancient times. Using weapons belongs to trickery and is excluded by the way of heaven. Unless it is a peerless divine weapon, it can't bear the will to destroy. Be honest and practical in physical confrontation. Dragon Dust warned loudly. In fact, Long Chen doesn't know what Taigu Tianjie is. It's all what Chen Kuanding told him. He just relayed what Chen Kuanding said. It turned out that in ancient times, natural robbery was a fair test, and the use of weapons was cheating. Therefore, the use of weapons would be eroded by the destructive will of natural robbery, and ordinary weapons could not afford it at all. Hearing the reminder of Dragon Dust, the dragon blood soldiers put away their weapons and fought against the thunder beast with bare hands. The dragon blood soldiers were stunned at this confrontation. That group of thunder monsters, the power of thunder was condensed to the extreme, and their sharp claws tore the void and patted them. Even they seemed to be hit by a sledgehammer and were photographed with stars in their eyes. In this way, Bai Shirshir and Bai Xiaola are the most difficult. Bai Shirshir is afraid that weapons will be damaged. He can only summon the power of gold to fight against those giants. Bai Xiaola's pupil technique can't shake these thunder beasts at all. He can only escape everywhere and is in a mess for a time. But Yu Zifeng didn't care. His long sword came and went. Those thunder monsters were smashed by him and turned into thunder symbols all over the sky. We should first absorb the power of thunder and adapt to the will and laws of heaven, otherwise we will suffer a lot in confrontation. Dragon Dust cried. Dragon blood warriors also know this truth, but they can't absorb the power of thunder if they can't explode those thunder monsters. Now Long Chen reminds them that they can't care whether their faces look good or not. They all run to Yu Zifeng to absorb the thunder runes chopped by Yu Zifeng. Xiaola, don't run away. These thunder monsters are gathered by the will of heaven and earth. First of all, you must have the confidence to resist the will of heaven and earth. Otherwise, you will be afraid and your strength will not play out at all. One day, if you encounter an opponent who frightens you, you will repeat the mistakes and lose the courage of World War I. You can only be slaughtered. Long Chen saw that Bai Xiaola was embarrassed to avoid those thunder beasts and began to remind him. Bai Xiaola is different from others. He practices pupil technique. To fight against these thunder monsters is to look directly at the will of heaven. People with weak will can't afford it at all. Bai Xiaola's experience as a child led to his weak will, so he was more likely to have a heart of fear. But practice is so cruel. No matter how scared you are, as long as you want to take this road, you must face it. If someone reminds Bai Xiaola, it's no use at all, but Long Chen is different. He exists like God in Bai Xiaola's heart. He has no confidence in himself, but he always believes in Long Chen's words. Dragon Dust asked him to face the disaster. He immediately threw away his fear, sealed his hands and began to run the pupil to fight. However, the fear can't be thrown away. Dragon Dust asked Bai Xiaola to start with defense. When the defense takes effect, confidence is gradually established, and then go back to the offensive. It needs a step-by-step process. We can't worry. After a brief panic, the Dragon Blood Legion absorbed the Thunder Rune and gradually could resist the oppression of the will of heaven. The power of Dragon Blood gradually awakened and began to fight back. Boom! Gu Yang, who was the first to burst out, roared, and the dragon scale appeared on his fist. With one punch he burst a thunder beast. At this moment, they finally understand that this robbery is completely different from their previous robbery. The laws contained in the robbery must be cracked with the same laws. Using brute force will only be suppressed. The so-called law is similar to a game rule. If you don't abide by the game rules, you will be eliminated. Of course, so far, only Yu Zifeng cannot abide by this law, and no one else can. Kaka Kaka. Dragon Blood soldiers fought with thunder beasts. Suddenly, their bodies rattled, and scales came out automatically, covering their whole body. What is this? When seeing this scene, Guo Ran and others were stunned. www.milovenival.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4652. The Dragon Blood soldiers did not summon the Dragon Blood battle body. They wanted to preserve their physical strength, but the Dragon Blood battle body appeared uncontrollably. Boom boom. When the Dragon Blood battle body appeared, the holy dragon power broke out. The blood of all the Dragon Blood soldiers were connected, echoed, and blessed each other. At that moment, the thunder beasts close to them burst into pieces before touching their bodies. The shattered thunder rune was instantly absorbed by the dragon scales on them. At that moment, the dragon scales were like bloodthirsty beasts, crazy devouring the power of thunder. Boss this. When they saw this scene, the Dragon Blood soldiers were stunned. They stood still and let the scales on their bodies absorb the power of thunder without doing anything. What's the situation? Long Chen was also confused. He asked the Heaven and Earth tripod. Emperor Blood awakened automatically and began to swallow the power of thunder to strengthen himself. The energy required for the advanced Imperial Blood is too huge. The efficiency of the Dragon Blood soldiers is obviously insufficient. The Dragon Soul began to do it by itself. Heaven and Earth Ding Dao. Long Chen was relieved when he heard that the Dragon Soul did it himself, but soon, Long Chen's face changed and shouted at Guoran, "Guoran, don't let your Dragon Soul control the Dragon Blood battle body, otherwise you will become an Iron Turtle in the future." The so-called Iron Turtle has only defense but no attack. If it is controlled by the spirit of the hidden dragon, it will be over. Hearing the reminder of Dragon Dust, Guoran was startled, hurried to seal his hands and began to compete with the Dragon Soul for the control of the Dragon Blood battle body. Although defense is important, defense alone is useless without strength. He doesn't want to be a shrinking turtle. Otherwise, he has no face to be the commander-in-chief of the Dragon Blood Corps. Before, the spirit of the hidden dragon mastered the dragon god body refining technique and blessed most of his energy on defense. However, without the baptism of heaven's robbery, Guoran still had the opportunity to recapture some of his energy. In terms of power, now is Guoran's only chance to turn over. Guoran is desperately competing with the Dragon Soul for the power of thunder, but others are very relaxed and let the Dragon Soul absorb the power of natural disaster. Yu Zifeng, Yu Qingxian, Bai Shishir and Bai Xiaola sit on the void and quietly understand the law of heaven in the disaster. There is the blessing of the Dragon Soul, and everything is under control. Boom! Endless thunder beasts pour down. These thunder beasts become stronger and stronger, but the Dragon Blood soldiers don't care about anything. Once these thunder beasts rush to them, they will be shattered by the power of the Dragon Soul. Each of them was given a drop of dragon blood from the powerful emperor. These dragon blood are of the same origin and are now controlled separately by everyone. At this time, they echo each other and seem to form a dragon blood array. At this time, those fierce thunder beasts, like moths fighting fire, have turned into thunder symbols all over the sky one after another. The scene is extremely spectacular. Those thunder beasts became stronger and stronger, but they did not threaten them at all, because after absorbing the power of thunder, the dragon blood fighting bodies of the dragon blood soldiers also rose with the water, and how many came and how many died. At first, the scales on the dragon blood soldiers were as thin as cicada wings and as thin as ice. They looked like they would break when touched. But as they kept absorbing the power of thunder, the scales began to thicken, and the breath and authority became stronger and stronger. At the same time, strange lines were produced. With the emergence of lines, the scales of dragon blood soldiers also changed. Different changes have taken place in the size, shape, pattern, and breadth of scales. Some dragon blood warriors have slender scales, some are short and thick, and some even show a diamond state. Although the dragon blood warriors absorbed the same dragon blood in their bodies, they attached different dragon souls, which affected the trend of their dragon god body refining. Now it seems that everyone's way is different. Boom boom. After more than an hour, those thunder monsters became stronger and bigger, but they couldn't help the dragon blood soldiers. The dragon patterns around them echo each other and form a strange array. Thousands of giant dragons are looming around them. Suddenly, the sky changed and endless beasts disappeared. Instead, endless ancient creatures. These creatures, armed with divine soldiers, rushed in like a tide. They were wearing strange clothes with an ancient flavor, killing the sky. Boom boom. However, these creatures collided with the dragon pattern boundary of the dragon blood soldiers and turned into powder. This is a group of terrible creatures, whose strength is not much weaker than that of the dragon blood soldiers. If we follow the previous way of crossing the robbery, these creatures will make the dragon blood soldiers in a hurry. Now the strength of the dragon blood soldiers has gathered together, and the border is as solid as gold. These creatures can't threaten them at all. The dragon blood soldiers, with their eyes closed, are in a state of selflessness. They are communicating with the dragon soul and working together to deduce their future road. The dragon god's body refining technique is broad and profound, and even the dragon family can't inherit it. Now, the dragon dust has found another way. He passed it to the dragon blood warrior, who deduced it by the dragon blood warrior and the dragon soul. Now it seems that this is a great feat when seeing the dragon blood soldiers. The scales around them are more and more solid, the breath is more and more powerful, and the pressure is more and more vast. Long Chen's heart is full of excitement. After this robbery, the Dragon Blood Legion will certainly be able to shake the 3 worlds and become famous for 9 days. The name of the Dragon Blood Legion will be heard all over the world. As time went by, an hour later, all kinds of ancient creatures disappeared and replaced by thunderbolts. Wanli giant hammer, sky-cutting sword and sky-penetrating spear, like the divine soldiers controlled by the Emperor of Heaven, smashed at the Dragon Blood Legion without money. Every blow carries the supreme power, and even dragon dust is shocked. This blow is enough to threaten the Holy King and the strong. Even dragon dust has to deal with it with all his strength. What's more, those thunder magic soldiers didn't come down at once, but tens of thousands of attacks fell at the same time. Even dragon dust felt a little numb. However, Long Chun also knows that this time, the sky robbery is different from the past. Seeing the robbery cloud above the 9 days, it has gradually become transparent, which shows that the sky robbery is gradually coming to an end. Boom boom. The thunder magic soldiers fell into the Dragon Blood Legion, and the Dragon Blood soldiers trembled. Their scales and armor cracked one by one, and there was a faint overflow of blood. Obviously, the thunder attack is more destructive than Long Chen imagined. However, the Dragon Blood soldiers can hold on. Their scales and armor are still desperately absorbing the power of thunder, which shows that their bodies have not reached the limit and are still improving rapidly. This round of bombardment lasted for 3 hours. The scales of the Dragon Blood soldiers became more and more tough. The edges of the scales were injected with a layer of purple patterns, which looked more powerful and handsome. Boom! Suddenly, there was a startling explosion. A giant claw that covered the sky broke the clouds in all directions, penetrated the robbery cloud and grabbed the Dragon Blood Legion. When he saw the giant claw covering the sky, The pupil of dragon dust shrank to the size of a needle tip in an instant. www.milovenival.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4653. It finally came. Causal liquidation can't escape after all. When he saw the covered dragon claw, Long Chen's heart sank. What he worried about finally happened. Boom! When the dragon claw falls, it is accompanied by the potential to destroy heaven and earth. It breaks through the sky, and even the sky robbery clouds are pierced by it. The most terrible thing is that this blow is accompanied by the supreme dragon power, which takes people's heart and soul and is awesome. It is a kind of crushing from soul and will. The dragon claw is caught on the border of the dragon blood legion. The border is invincible against the attacks of all thunder beasts, but it is weak in front of the dragon claw and is shattered by a blow. The dragon blood soldiers in the enchantment were shocked and their blood gushed wildly. Even if everyone worked together to bear the blow, they still couldn't bear it. It's the Emperor Elder. Guoran and others' faces changed greatly. They fought fiercely with the powerful emperor in the 10,000 dragon nest and were very sensitive to his breath. This is the last robbery. We all work together to resist. Gu Yang shouted. Boom! As a result, Gu Yang just finished shouting. A tall figure with a crown and an imperial spirit appeared in front of him and hit him in the face. The man was no one else, but the emperor's strong man. He was copied by heaven. This boxing came out and the world collapsed. Gu Yang didn't dare to take such a terrible punch, but he was shocked to find that his body involuntarily approached the other party's fist at the moment when the emperor's strong man punched. Be careful. Seeing Gu Yang in danger, Guoran was the closest to Gu Yang. He was the first to rush to Gu Yang. This guy used his back to block Gu Yang's punch. Boom! The fist of the emperor's strong man hit Guoran's back, and there was a startling explosion. The triple-scale armor covered behind Guoran burst open. Guoran's blood gushed wildly, hit Gu Yang, and the two rolled away. Guoran. Gu Yang was shocked. Guoran bumped into him. He was shocked to see Venus. The power of one punch of the strong emperor was borne by Guoran, and he only suffered a small part. This tiny part has such terrible power, so the power Guoran bears is unimaginable. Cough, cough. Guoran coughed up blood. Seeing Guoran coughing up blood, Gu Yang was relieved. He was really afraid that Guoran would be killed by one punch. In that case, he could not be at ease all his life. Hey, Guoran. My defense is the best in the world. This punch is just tickling. Cough. Guoran tried to pretend to be okay, but still couldn't stop coughing blood. Gu Yang looked at his back and found a big hole in his scales. That punch almost blew him up. Good brother, you have a rest first and then give it to us. Gu Yang patted Guoran on the shoulder and rushed out with his teeth. Gu Yang had just left, and sure enough, several divine lights fell on Guoran. Guoran was suddenly refreshed, and the wound was healing quickly. It turned out that the healing of the soldiers of the medical regiment came, but Guoran's injury was too serious to recover immediately, but it has made Guoran recover part of his combat strength. Guoran, who had not fully recovered, rushed out with him. He knew that among these people who had survived the robbery, except him, no one could bear the blow of the emperor's strong, and he had to stand up. Boom boom. At this time, the dragon blood soldiers rushed to the emperor's strong man, but they were raised by the emperor's strong man, and they were very embarrassed. They were not the opponent of the emperor's strong man at all. The emperor's strong man in the Tianjie seems to be more powerful than that in the 10,000 dragon nest. When waving, the thunder is thousands of miles, the sky is falling apart, and the people can't get close at all. Watch out for the sky, dragon dust suddenly loudly reminded. At this time, the dragon blood soldiers who were fighting with the strong of the imperial family were shocked to find that a sky-covering faucet appeared with a big mouth open and had been aimed at the people. Before Long Chen reminded them, they didn't feel it at all. Their minds were all focused on the strong ones of the imperial family. At this time, when they saw the huge faucet and the rapidly expanding spherical lightning in the faucet mouth, they immediately felt that their souls were about to get out of their scabbard. Damn it! The crowd took a breath of air conditioning. The emperor's strong man still had a vision. They thought it was from the emperor's strong man. At this time, they realized that it was an attack from a vision. At the same time, they also found a desperate thing. That is, they should not only deal with the emperor's strong, but also deal with his vision. A strong emperor has killed them and almost begged for mercy. Coupled with a real dragon vision, it simply doesn't leave them any way to live. At that moment, everyone was stunned. Even if they had experienced hundreds of battles, even if they were not afraid of death, they could always keep calm, but at this time, they couldn't think of any way to resist. Buzz, in the huge dragon mouth above the 9 days, the spherical lightning is getting bigger and bigger, the endless thunder runes gather, and when the colored thunder rolls, it sends out a harsh sonic boom. The sonic boom, resounding through the heaven and earth, is like a prelude to death and destruction. It makes the soul tremble. In front of it, anyone is as small as an ant. Guoran was also stupid. Although he had caught a punch from the emperor's strong man and saved Gu Yang, he knew that he could not resist the blow. Even if he has the heart to fight to the death and goes to resist, it is also a mantis, which is useless. It can't change the outcome of the collapse of the Dragon Blood Legion. What should I do? At that moment, not only Guoran was worried, but Yu Zifeng's cold sweat also came down. He clearly felt the power of the thunderball to destroy the sky and the earth. If he tries his best, he may be able to cut the ball open, but it doesn't make any sense. The power in the ball is condensed to the extreme. Even if it is cut open, it can't detonate. It will still fall down, and everyone can't escape the fate of destruction. Other Dragon Blood soldiers are still working together to attack the Emperor's strong. Their purpose is to prevent him from interfering with Yu Zifeng, Guoran, Xia Chen, and others. The Dragon Blood Legion fell into danger countless times, but they never gave up. They know what they should do. They believe in the wisdom of the leaders. What they can do is do what they should do. At this time, Guoran, Yu Zifeng, Xia Chen, Gu Yang, Li Qi, Song Mingyuan, and others were numb. Facing the long-standing power of destruction, they found that they couldn't think of any way. Boss! Guoran shouted. Now Longchen has become their greatest hope. I'm afraid it's only Longchen who wants to reverse the crisis. However, Longchen's action is likely to lead to greater disasters, but at this time, it's burning and can only take care of the present. Xiaolu, it's time for you to do it. Longchen was not in a hurry and shouted to Bai Xiaola, who looked frightened in the crowd. Me! Bai Xiaola was surprised. No doubt, only you can resolve this crisis. Dragon Dust cried. Buzz, at this time, the dragon head on the 9 days suddenly lit up, its big mouth opened, and the thunder light like the stars roared. www.milovenovel.com, the fastest update of the web novel. Chapter 4654, Boss, what should I do? Bai Xiaola was stunned at this time. Longchen said he had a way, but his mind was in a mess at this time. There was no way. You are so stupid that I can't stand such a useless guy like you. At this time, Bai Xiaola heard the voice of Purple Pupil Nine-Tailed Demon Fox that hates iron but not steel. Buzz, a fox shadow appeared behind Bai Xiaola. The purple pupils glittered with a strange light. The 9 tails were like a burning flame. When the tail trembled, the world kept twisting. No inside, no outside, no self, no phase, 6 heavenly pupils. The purple pupil 9-tailed demon fox stopped drinking at the mouth and closed his claws. Bai Xiaola made a seal with his hands. 1 person and 1 animal stopped drinking at the same time. 6 petals appeared in their pupils. That is the unique scene of Lu Dao Tiantong. When they summoned Lu Dao Tiantong at the same time, purple appeared in Bai Xiaola's pupil, while black and white purple appeared in the eyes of Zitong 9-tailed demon fox. Their pupils exchanged for each other in a moment. Sky Mirror, the purple pupil 9-tailed demon fox broke drinking. The printing method in Bai Xiaola's hand changed, and a huge mirror appeared in the void. The mirror covered the sky, but it was as thin as a cicada feather. There were 6 patterns on the mirror, which stood in front of the people. The mirror looked weak. If it was touched, it would burst. Moreover, there was no threat. When Bai Xiaola and Zitong Nine-Tail Evil Fox worked together to condense the mirror, they suddenly felt that they had no bottom in their hearts. This thin mirror could block the peerless divine communication of the Emperor's strong? However, now they have no choice but to trust Bai Xiaola, while the dragon dust watching the war in the distance has a smile on his mouth. Boom! When the thunder light ball hit the mirror burst into pieces, but at the moment of breaking, it formed a strange ripple. Shape-shifting and shadow-changing. At this time, the purple pupil nine-tailed demon fox broke drinking, and the two little claws suddenly formed a seal. The dragon blood soldiers who were originally besieging the strong of the imperial family were pulled out of the battle circle in an instant. Then a shocking scene appeared. After penetrating the mirror, the light ball with a radius of tens of thousands of miles suddenly narrowed to the size of a fist and directly hit the Emperor's strong man. Seeing this scene, people finally understood that Bai Xiaola's move could not resist the attack, but could change its attack direction. Boom! There was a startling explosion, and the thunder ball hit the Emperor's strong man. The violent thunder rune, like the star fragments after the universe burst, swept the sky. The terrible impact almost tore the dragon blood soldiers into pieces, one by one covered with blood. At that moment, the dragon blood soldiers were stunned. The power of this blow was more terrible than they thought. If there were no Bai Xiaola and Zitong Nine-Tailed Demon Fox, there would be no Dragon Blood Legion in the world after this blow. Quickly absorb these thunder runes. After the shock, many people responded and quickly absorbed the Thunderbolt runes. This is the best part of the day's robbery. It also contains the will of the strong people of the imperial family and quickly absorbs when the will is not dissipated. Buzz. Just then, a dragon's tail on the 9 days tore the void, like the whip of the god of heaven, and beat it down hard at the people. It didn't give them a chance to breathe. At this time, Yu Zifeng's long hair floated and his clothes danced. His voice resounded through the clear sky. I walked through the sea of corpses and blood and crossed the shackles of heaven and earth. From mortal to immortal, no one can stop my progress. From weak to strong, nothing can block my goal. Ups and downs in the world of mortals, striving to cross the sea of suffering, 9 days and 10 places. Those who have known me to break, loudly recite my name, broken wave. Choke. When the long sword comes out of its scabbard, the sword chi soars into the sky. When the sword is cut down, the heaven and earth change color. The shadow of the sword soars across the void, thousands of roads collapse, and the law of heaven and earth is cut off. Boom! To the horror of countless people, Yu Zifeng cut off the tail of the covered dragon with a sword. The dragon's tail like a mountain burst open and turned into a thunderstorm pouring down the sky. The sword was shocked by ghosts and spirits. The sword chi crossed the void. The cracks left between heaven and earth could not be healed for a long time. Oh, my God! The strong people who watched the robbery from a distance were shocked to see Yu Zifeng's sword, which was far beyond their understanding of destructive power. Boss Zifeng, well done! The soldiers of the Dragon Blood Legion shouted with excitement. Yu Zifeng cut off the dragon's tail with a sword. They obviously felt that the smell of heaven's robbery had dropped a lot. Kill! The warriors of the Dragon Warrior roared vigorously and rushed to the skies. They took the initiative to attack the Thunderbolt Dragon and devoured its thunder essence. Boom boom! The Dragon Blood soldiers madly attacked the dragon. In front of the Dragon Blood soldiers were as small as mole ants. But at this time, after the dragon was hit hard by Yu Zifeng, its strength was greatly reduced, and there were more ants, so it could chew down the elephant. Hiss hiss! Dragon Blood warriors, tear off pieces of dragon scales from the giant dragon. After the dragon scales are detached, they can be absorbed by the Dragon Blood warriors. After absorbing the power of thunder, the dragon blood in the Dragon Blood soldiers burned rapidly, and the whole person emitted a raging flame. They used the power of thunder to use their body as a melting pot and thoroughly refine the dragon blood in their body. Only in this way can they achieve a perfect fit. The Dragon Blood army made a joint attack and didn't give the dragon the chance to show its magic power. Once it began to accumulate strength, Yu Zifeng attacked in time. Although Yu Zifeng's original power was greatly reduced after the full-scale attack, it can still be done to cooperate with the public and interrupt the dragon's magic power. Bai Xiaola has just made great achievements, but he doesn't have time to be happy. He is frowning and clasping the dragon scales with his hands like the dragon blood soldiers. On his shoulder, Zitong Nine-Tailed Demon Fox is supervising the work. This is his punishment for Bai Xiaola. There are countless thunder dragons wandering around the periphery of the Dragon Blood Legion. These thunder dragons are the incarnation of Lei Linger. She can't grab meat with the dragon blood soldiers, but she still doesn't want to let go of some meat residue. Because if the thunder runes on the periphery are not absorbed in time, they will dissipate between heaven and earth. This waste is unbearable for Lei Linger. As time passed, finally, the dragon reached its limit and burst into pieces. At this time, the bodies of the dragon blood soldiers were completely saturated and could not be absorbed anymore. Those broken thunder runes were swallowed up by Lei Linger. After the sky robbery dispersed, the breath of the dragon blood soldiers was climbing wildly. Finally, they reached an unprecedented height and gradually stabilized. At that moment, all the dragon blood soldiers were full of energy and momentum, holding their fists one by one, feeling the surging power in their bodies, and their faces were full of excitement. Haha, finally advanced God. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 46-55. The clouds receded, the world returned to calm, and the dragon blood soldiers stood under the void. At this time, they had entered the realm of God. Not only have they entered the realm of God, because they are all 7-star destiny. Under the blessing of destiny, the most advanced one is the top god among God. Originally, the realm of God is divided into 3 levels: heaven, earth, and man. These 3 levels are usually not related to cultivation, but closely linked to talent. Many people with powerful talents, the moment when they advance to the god is the strong person of the earth level. Through the acquired practice and enlightenment, they can break through in the later stage and enter the heaven. Some practitioners with ordinary qualifications, even if they have advanced to the realm of divine respect, can only be respected by one person in their whole life. Among ordinary practitioners, the birth probability of Tianzuan is very low, especially the genius of breakthrough, that is, Tianzuan. But this is only for ordinary practitioners, and for those with destiny, the probability of giving birth to the god is great. For the 7-star destiny, the moment of breaking through God's territory, he is doomed to be a strong person at the level of heaven. The so-called Tianzuan is the supreme of Tiandao, which means that they are favored by the Tiandao and are the people to whom the destiny belongs, not to mention the destiny, but also the darling of heaven and earth. For the divine realm, they are the peak of their debut. At this time, the dragon blood soldiers, the moment they stepped into the god, blessed by the power of heaven and earth and blessed by the 10,000 ways, at that moment, they felt that they were the masters of the world, and the endless power surged, which was an unprecedented feeling. More than 7,000 dragon blood soldiers, all advanced in the realm of God, were filled with terrible blood gas. In the blood gas, there was a faint sound of dragon singing. After the baptism of Tianjia, the dragon blood of the imperial family perfectly matches their flesh. At the same time, their soul is integrated with the dragon soul under the refining of Tianjia. Not only that, their blood essence comes from the strong of the imperial family. Everyone has a noble imperial spirit. It seems that there is a beam of light shining on them in the 9 days, making them the most dazzling stars wherever they go. The dragon blood soldiers also felt this. They held their fists, but they still couldn't restrain the excitement in their hearts. Guoran, in particular, felt the noble atmosphere, as if he had been promoted from beggar to prince. The improvement of his temperament made him feel sorry for the blood in his body if he didn't walk horizontally in the future. Guoran, how is your power distributed? Looking at Guoran, Long Chen asked. Tell the boss, after my constant struggle, unremitting efforts, tenacious resistance and desperate struggle, I won 30% of my strength. Guoran's voice was like a mosquito. He dared not look at the dragon dust when he spoke. Only 30% of your dragon god body refining skill is blessed with strength? Gu Yang and others were surprised. You know, they all blessed more than 70% of their strength. Gu Yang blessed 90%, and only 10% was used for defense. Because when summoning dragon blood to fight the body, there are dragon scales to protect the body. Their defense is terrible. There is no need to support defense at all. Guoran only blessed 30% of his strength, that is to say, 70% of his blessing was on defense, which made everyone look at each other. It's not easy. Dragon Dust nodded. Dragon Dust knows the habits of Qianlong. Qianlong is timid and lazy. Its most powerful place is hiding, escaping, and defense. If it is allowed to control the direction, it will add all the abilities of Dragon God's body refining on defense. It's really not easy for Guoran to win back 30%, which shows that he has worked hard. Long Chun still recognizes this. Haha. I'm teasing you. Guoran suddenly changed his previous submissiveness and burst out laughing. Cut, I said, you can't do such a stupid thing. Hearing Guoran's smile, Xiachen couldn't help breathing a sigh of relief. Brother, don't say that. Guoran is a little speechless. No, you really did that? Xiachen was stunned. It's not that I really did that, but that it wants to do that. It's not easy for me to win back these 30%. Guoran then turned to Longchen and said, Boss, you don't have to worry. In fact, the Qianlong family can't just dive. They also have their own strong places. When they are in danger and can't escape, they have a magical power, that is, to draw the power from the scale and turn defense into attack. The defense power of the hidden dragon family is actually a kind of energy storage, because they are lazy to practice. They usually practice by storing power. And this way of practice? Everyone was surprised. Hey, of course, it's just like if you have money and deposit it in the bank. As long as you have enough money, you can eat and drink without worry just by relying on interest. Guoran laughed. But where is your capital? Besides, who opened the bank? Xiachen asked. Capital is the power of heaven and earth absorbed by them. Banks are embarrassing. They bind the luck of the whole dragon family. Guoran was a little embarrassed. It turns out that the Qianlong people are extremely lazy. From birth. Fortunately, the Qianlong people are not so lazy in reproduction, otherwise, they won't have this race. In addition to reproduction, the Qianlong family is not very mobile. After they are born, they will find a suitable place to dive. Obviously, he has a strong cultivation talent, but he is unwilling to practice. Lying in a hidden place, he can dive for hundreds of thousands of years, or even millions of years. When he wakes up, his cultivation will break through. Part of this breakthrough is actually because it is linked to the chi luck of the whole dragon family. That is, as long as the dragon family does not die out, they can live on the meager income of chi luck blessing. To put it awkwardly, the Qianlong family is a bit like a parasite in the dragon family. It makes little contribution to the dragon family. However, the Qianlong family is also a dragon family after all. When they encounter danger, they also have the ability to protect themselves. After Guoran integrates with the dragon soul of the Qianlong family, he naturally mastered all the abilities of the Qianlong family. Fortunately, the Qianlong family still has this move, which can convert defense into combat power. Otherwise, Guoran will really be finished. Long Chen was relieved to hear that. Guoran is a caster and can tailor weapons according to his ability. He can give full play to his advantages by developing his strengths and avoiding his weaknesses. His position as commander-in-chief should still be very reliable. Boss, we have advanced to the level of God. Next, we will protect the Dharma for you. You can safely survive the robbery. We promise that no one can disturb you. Yu Zifeng said. Everyone looked at Longchen one after another. Now they have successfully crossed the robbery. Now they are sent to Longchen. Boom! Just as Longchen was about to speak, suddenly the world trembled. The void was pierced by endless thunder. When people looked at it in public, they couldn't help jumping wildly. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4656, Boom! The void exploded, endless space-time fragments danced, and a black python galloped from above the people's heads. It was a python that covered the sky. As soon as it appeared, the whole world went dark and covered the sky. It's BlackRock 9U python. This is too big. It is hundreds of times larger than other BlackRock Geo python, and its breath is thousands of times stronger. When the dragon blood soldiers saw the python, they were all surprised. They had a fight with the BlackRock Geo python family, but the noumenon displayed by those people was as small as the loach compared with the one in front of them. Boom! When the python appeared, endless thunder rolled down from the 9 days, just like a waterfall. For a time, the whole world was shrouded in huge robbery clouds. The robbery cloud is boundless. It has completely locked the BlackRock 9U python. Where the BlackRock 9U python goes, the heaven robbery will follow. God, what a terrible robbery! I'm afraid only the boss robbery can match. The dragon blood soldiers looked at the boundless robbery cloud and felt the terrible pressure. They couldn't help but be startled. The momentum of this robbery is even larger than the scale of their collective robbery, which shows that the robbers are an extremely terrible existence. Boom! The BlackRock 9U python walked through the void. Its body was huge and covered the long sky, but its speed was very fast. Its huge body did not show clumsiness at all. Dragon Dust and others have just seen it. Half of its huge body has passed the crowd, but when it is about to fly from the top of the crowd. The BlackRock 9U python made a surprised sound, and its huge head suddenly turned to the Dragon Dust. Suddenly, the big mouth of the python suddenly opened, and then a black light came straight to the Dragon Dust. The vast divine light directly shrouded the whole Dragon Blood Legion. When the moment was shrouded by the divine light, all people, including Dragon Dust, felt their souls tremble. This blow touched their life perception. This blow was fatal. Sky Pupil Mirror. Before Long Chen and others reacted, the purple pupil 9-tailed demon fox on Bai Xiaole's shoulder was printed for the first time, condensing a huge mirror. This move was used by Bai Xiaole and Zitong Jue demon fox during the disaster, which perfectly reflected the attack of the Emperor's strong man and killed his real body with his power. Boom! With a bang, Bai Xiaole's Tiantong mirror suddenly vibrated and the black divine light was refracted out. However, the attack of the BlackRock 9U python family was too sudden, and the purple pupil 9-tailed demon fox didn't have much time to prepare. Although it blocked the black magic light, the direction of refraction could not be controlled. The refracted black magic light shoots out along the horizon. In the distance, there are endless rocky mountains. Some of these mountains are huge stones, which are extremely hard. Otherwise, they will not remain intact under the scourge of natural disaster. However, such a hard rock mountain was instantly pierced by the black magic light. The pierced mountain left a hole hundreds of miles in size. The cave is round and the wall is smooth as if it had been polished. On one line, countless mountains were pierced by a blow, but there was no smoke. This strange picture surprised and angered everyone. This bastard wants to kill us. Fortunately, Xiao Jiao moves fast enough, otherwise. Xia Chen's face is white with anger. If Xiao Jiao didn't move, they might be killed in a muddle. Before, their attention was focused on the robbery, and the man's killing intention was also covered up by the destruction of the robbery. When he made a move, everyone had no time to respond. It's interesting. Remember my name, Yan Tianhua. I'll come back to you after the robbery. The void roared. The strong man of the BlackRock 9U python family was very fast. The man had disappeared in the field of vision, but his voice echoed between heaven and earth. Die! The dragon blood soldiers were furious. This guy was so arrogant that he dared to leave his name. However, the guy who claimed to be Yan Tianhua was too fast. In the process of running, there seemed to be an invisible force pushing him to gallop, and he couldn't stop if he wanted to. Otherwise, listening to his tone, he should turn around and continue to attack them. My God! At this time, someone shouted in horror in the distance. Longchen and others looked at them one after another. They were shocked to find that the robbery clouds on their heads had disappeared completely. What is this? The crowd was stunned. The robbery was absorbed by this guy? Gu Yang exclaimed. Is this guy running so fast just to steal other people's natural disasters? No wonder his natural disaster is so terrible. He has absorbed the natural disaster of countless people to reach this point. For a time, people were shocked. They had never seen someone could absorb other people's natural disasters, just like stealing other people's things. At this time, the strong people who have not finished the robbery cry and curse loudly. The disappearance of the robbery is tantamount to the failure of the robbery, and they will never be able to advance to God. Although before, the dragon blood soldiers also absorbed other people's natural disasters, they can continue to cross the disaster on the edge of natural disasters without affecting their advancement. But Yen Tianhua is different. He directly takes their natural calamity as his own, depriving them of the opportunity to advance to the heaven. It's more cruel than killing. Give me back, some people roared and sped away in the direction of Yen Tianhua's disappearance, trying to recover their natural disaster. However, his speed could not be compared with Yen Tianhua, and it was impossible to catch up. When the thunder power in his body gradually cooled down, it was useless to catch up. Oh my God, come back quickly. If you can't advance to God, my family and my relatives will be over. A young man, who had been robbed, knelt on the ground and cried loudly. Cultivation is cruel. No matter how talented and powerful a person is, once he falls into the altar and cuts off the way ahead, all hopes bound to him will be dashed. At this time, let alone the enemy, even some friends who flatter you on weekdays may despise and ridicule you, gloat over misfortunes, and even show their fangs. No, suddenly, the man's big hand slapped his head. This man wanted to kill himself. Yu Qingxian and others exclaimed. Pa! At the moment of his hand, Long Chen appeared in front of him and grabbed his hand. My family's enemies look around and are in danger. I'm the only hope of the family. Since I can't fight, I'd better finish it all instead of watching my relatives die. Thank you for your kindness, but you can't save me. The face was as gray as ashes and had lost the hope of life. I'm stupid to death. While the power of thunder in my body hasn't cooled down, you have an hour. As long as you don't run in the direction that guy comes and goes, you will certainly meet other robbers. I think you're a good person. Remind you, next, you should understand how to do it. Dragon dust to the humanity. As soon as the man heard it, he was immediately impressed. Excitedly, he kowtowed to Long Chen directly and ran away desperately. Boss, your head is really amazing. It turns too fast. Guoran and others admired each other. They all thought that the natural disaster had been taken away, so they were completely abandoned. However, Long Chen thought of a way for a moment. As long as he found a person to cross the robbery, as long as the other party is not much better than himself, rubbing the robbery will only make the robbery stronger at most and will not affect his advanced level. You find a place to consolidate the realm, the sooner the better. Dragon dust is humane to all. Boss, what about you? Guoran and others were surprised. I want to chase that guy. I feel like he's brewing a plot. I'll see if I can borrow a light. If you can borrow it, borrow a little. If you can't borrow it, blow his dog's head and give him a bad breath. Dragon dust said, summoning thunder wings, like a meteor, flying away. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4657. The thunder wings trembled behind the dragon dust, and the void broke open. Like a meteor, it galloped with its long tail. The speed of thunder's wings will be slower than Kunpeng's wings after all. Unfortunately, Kunpeng's wings have been washed away. If you have a chance in the future, you still have to find a way to get a pair of children, otherwise it's inconvenient to chase people. Dragon dust galloped with all his strength, and his speed has been improved to the extreme, but he still chased farther and farther. If it weren't for Lei Linger's lock, he would have lost it. Because heaven and earth have just been ravaged by the natural robbery, the space is extremely unstable, and the directional transmission array cannot be used. The dragon dust can only chase all the way. Along the way, Long Chen saw countless strong people roaring and crying. They shouted and cursed in the direction Yen Tianhua left, but there was no way. These people have been ignorant. After all, Tianjia has been taken away, and no one can calm down quickly. The reason why Long Chen thought of looking for someone to rub Tianjia for the first time is because he is an outsider. If his Tianjia is taken away, he can't calm down immediately. Dragon Dust chased frantically all the way for 3 days and nights. Suddenly, Dragon Dust found that the world here had changed and endless robbery clouds covered the sky. The robbery cloud moved slowly in one direction. In front of it was a huge vortex. The Dragon Dust ran under the vortex for a whole day before it vaguely saw the center of the vortex. There was a conspiracy. When the Dragon Dust saw the core area of the vortex, it trembled a little, as if the stars were twinkling. It was a sign that the thunder was accumulating strength in the sky robbery. Obviously, in that area, someone had begun to prepare for the robbery, and there were more than one person. Dragon Dust continued to fly. As the distance became closer, Dragon Dust finally saw hundreds of light clusters in the center of the vortex. These light clusters were like sesame seeds in the huge robbery cloud. But in fact, these sky robbery clouds are several times larger than those of dragon blood soldiers. These light clouds, circulating in the vortex, are still rapidly absorbing the power of the vortex and constantly expanding themselves. The distance was narrowed again. Long Chen saw a figure standing in each cloud robbing light group, and in one cloud robbing light group, in addition to a figure, there was a white bone war horse and a chariot. It's him. Long Chen was surprised and recognized him at once. When he entered the channel of the magic spirit world, the guy who rushed in front of him but was forcibly pulled back by him. This guy had an X-shaped scar on his face and a red heavy sword on his back, which was very easy to identify. This man didn't just go through the robbery himself. The white bone war horse and bronze chariot were also in the robbery. Should they go through the robbery together? When the Dragon Dust approached the vortex center, it was found that countless strong people had gathered around. They were scattered around the vortex center. At the foot was a strange array, which was protected by the boundary. Watching the war? No, they may be together with these robbers and protect the Dharma for them. Dragon Dust found that all the strong people in the enchantment are strong people who have completed the robbery and advanced to the realm of God. These gods have all races. They form a huge encirclement circle around the core area of the vortex, which is very spectacular. When Long Chen rushed here alone, he suddenly attracted countless eyes. Where did you come from, fool? Are you trying to die? The creatures watching the war below. Some people drink cold. Terran, it's really stupid. Can you come to such a place? A demon family strong man deliberately amplified his voice and sneered. Among the strong people watching the war, there are also strong people of the Terran. Obviously, his words were deliberately said to the Terran. Idiot, do you know who he is? Dare to fart without shame. Among the Terrans, someone sneered and fought back. Obviously, he recognized the identity of Long Chen. It's really funny. Are there any other people worth knowing about the Terran? We don't bother to know those guys standing in the sky robbery among you Terrans. What's this? The strong one of the demon clan mocked. It's really ignorant and stupid. You don't even know the first academy in the world and the first proud Dragon Dust in modern times. You're not only blind but also deaf? Haven't you heard of the name of Dragon Dust? Some Terran strongmen said. What is the best in the world? Shit, you Terrans are good for nothing except bragging. The strong of the demon family sneered. He is not only the first expert of the young generation of Lingshao Academy, but also the first expert of the Terran. You rats can only kneel down and crawl in front of him. The Terran strongman frantically helped Long Chen boast. At first, Long Chen thought this man was his admirer. But when he said that, the taste changed. This is an obvious support for killing. This is to transfer other people's attention to him. That, the first in the world, is the most taboo statement in the spiritual world. This guy has some malicious intentions. Long Chen is also an art expert. He knows there is a problem here. He still rushes forward all the way. When he flies over the top of the spectators and steps into the center of the vortex, it attracts the attention of the strong among the light groups. Dragon Dust the strong in the light group had closed their eyes and quietly waited for the coming of the disaster, but when the Dragon Dust appeared, they gave birth to induction. When they saw the face of the Dragon Dust, several voices shouted the name of the Dragon Dust in an instant. The onlookers were surprised. Even the strong man of the Terran who was ill-intentioned and kept bragging about Long Chen was shocked. Someone really knows Long Chen here. The people who called out the name of Long Chen gnashed their teeth one by one, with a bloody smell in their voice, as if they had a feud. Wow, I have so many acquaintances. When he felt the strong killing intention, Long Chen unexpectedly found that there was a familiar smell in many light groups. Dragon Dust, you who kill thousands of knives, die for me. A voice roared and a divine light burst out from the light group of the robbery cloud. It was a sword of thunder. This sword affected the power of the robbery, roaring and thundering. This attack is not powerful enough to be fatal, but it has a fatal place, that is, once it is received, it will be locked by heaven's robbery. Even if you don't want to cross the robbery, you have to follow it. The person who did it was no one else. It was Yu Zihao who was cheated by Long Chen and almost lost his fortune. In the end, he got nothing and was slapped in the face. The arrogant disciple of Brahma saw Dragon Dust at this time, and his eyes turned red. He wanted to eat the meat of Dragon Dust. Facing the thunder blow, countless people thought that Long Chen would choose to avoid, but what they didn't expect was that Long Chen waved his hand directly. Boom! With a bang, the thunder sword was smashed by Long Chen's palm. You're good at playing. Take me one. A smile appeared on Long Chen's face. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4658, Boom. At the moment when Long Chen smashed the thunder sword, the whole world trembled, and then a thunder light appeared on Long Chen. It's a despicable thing to kill thousands of knives. You've been locked by the robbery. I'll see how you run this time. Yu Zihao looked at the Dragon Dust wrapped in thunderlight. His eyes were full of cruelty. The picture of Dragon Dust tortured to death by him had emerged in his mind. Brahma's disciple, why are you so stingy? He can't even joke. He just took something from you. It's like I killed your father and stole your daughter-in-law. Dragon Dust despised the tunnel. Yu Zihao was furious. Long Chen made him so miserable that he even said he was stingy. His lungs were going to explode, but he didn't know how to refute for a moment. Because such a shameful thing can't be said at all, because if it is said, no one will sympathize with him, which will only be more shameful. Zihao, a dying man, why should he be angry? I'll refine him into a human pill and give it to you. Just then, a voice came from a distance. Long Chen followed his reputation. In a light group, a figure shook. It seemed that he saw Long Chen looking at him and deliberately made the light group clear so that Long Chen could see his face. It was a red-haired man with a cold face. His eyes looked coldly at the Dragon Dust and looked condescending, as if the god was looking at a mole ant. What kind of bastard are you? You think you can pretend to be a red-haired turtle with red hair? Oh. I can see that he is a disciple of Brahma, but you are willing to help the dog eat shit. Vatican is in collusion with Luoshani, that is to say, you are a disciple of Luoshani? Long Chen wanted to lose this guy a few words, and suddenly guessed his identity. Fart, you filthy and blasphemous guy, I'll refine you into a human pill now. The red-haired man was furious with Dragon Dust, and his red hair stood upright. Long Chen guessed right. This person is the disciple of Luoshani. It is because of this that he is so angry. Brother Gingjian, don't be impatient. Anyway, he has been locked by the robbery. It's too cheap to kill him now. Well, let him suffer and die. It's Yu Zihao's turn to comfort him. Brother Gingjian? It's a good name. There's no cheapest name, only the cheapest. The older generation colludes with each other, and the younger generation is healthier. Dragon Dust clapped his hands and praised. The disciple of the falling knight was trembling with anger, but he finally held back, his hands were sealed, and the force of thunder roared all over him. He wrapped himself and ignored the Dragon Dust. Yu Zihao was the same. He sneered at Long Chen and simply closed the six senses. He knew that he was not the opponent of Long Chen and silently waited for the coming of the disaster. At this time, the Thunderlight group around Long Chen began to become more and more strong. Obviously, he was also successfully pulled into the team of fairy robbery. A smile appeared at the corner of Long Chen's mouth and wanted to use heaven to harm him. There are such funny ideas in this world. It doesn't matter, as long as you don't cry at that time. Dragon dust, I'll see how you escape this time. Yuzaheo and his disciples shut up, and another voice came from a distance. Hearing this sound, the dragon dust head didn't turn back and said lazily, "It seems that you escaped last time? If it weren't for the protection of Zoo Scales, I would have beaten you into a dark dragon." It turned out that the dark dragon Tianzhao was also here, but Yuzaheo didn't take action against the dragon dust before, and he didn't have a chance to speak until now. However, his opening surprised the onlookers outside. They didn't know who Dragon Dust was, but they knew that those who dared to rob here must be the most terrible monster-level strong men. These onlookers are also Dharma protectors. The strongest monster in their family has also been robbed here. They have arranged a large array early to protect the Dharma for their leaders. Because even the strongest monsters are in danger of falling in the face of the strongest natural disaster. Even if they don't fall, they will be seriously injured after the disaster. At this time, when they are weakest, someone must protect the law. These guardians are numerous. One person crosses the robbery, and all the strong people of a family come to guard. They range from millions to tens of millions. Moreover, those who can come here to protect the Dharma are the elite of the elite and the strong among the strong. It can be seen how much they attach importance to this robbery. With the arrival of these monsters, there is almost no communication between these monsters. Only the guardians of some hostile forces sometimes ridicule each other, but there is no physical conflict. However, with the arrival of Long Chen, he was targeted. From the dialogue, they heard that Yuzaheo had suffered a great loss in the hands of Long Chen. As soon as the dark dragon Tianzhao opened his mouth, he was obviously beaten by the dragon dust. The two super monsters had a festival with the dragon dust. Obviously, the dragon dust is definitely not an ordinary person. Before that, the man who dug a hole for Longchen began to feel uneasy. Although he knew Longchen, he only heard his name and saw his portrait, but he didn't really know Longchen. He was suddenly afraid. His mind could not hide from Longchen. He was afraid that Longchen would retaliate and bring disaster to their family. Winning or losing once doesn't mean anything. Knowing shame and then being brave is the real warrior. In a moment, it'll let you know what real power is. The dark dragon shines coldly. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose at one time. What about those 2 times? Dragon Dust asked. You. This time, Ming Long Tianzhao suddenly became angry. The so-called killing and killing heart, he really lost in the hands of Long Chen twice, and both were disastrous. If Long Chen said he hit the key, you don't have to find out whether you are brave or not. If you lose too much, you will get used to it. However, there is a saying that you are doomed today. Dragon Dust pretended and made a pinch of his fingers. Yes, there are again and again. Without repeated, I'll see who is doomed. Ming Long Tianzhao sneered and seemed confident in himself. My creed is that there is only one and no two. You calculate that I will die the second time I meet you. Just then, a cold voice came, like the whisper of Hell Messenger, which made people's scalp numb. The sound came from a huge light, in which there was a man, a car, and a horse. When he made a sound, the onlookers were all surprised. Does this have a holiday? You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4659. The sound came from a huge light, in which there was a man, a car, and a horse. When he made a sound, the onlookers were shocked. Because in their impression, this person's origin is terrible. He drives a white bone war horse and pulls a bronze chariot. There are cracks in the terrible pressure and the earthquake void. Unexpectedly, such a person also had a festival with Longchen. For a time, everyone looked at Longchen. I've seen a lot of big talkers, but you're the only one who likes to talk big in a carriage. The horses are so hungry that only bones are left. You are still in the mood to brag with me. You really can't. You'd better sell the car and buy some feed for your horse. Dragon Dust Light Tunnel. At the beginning, Long Chen calculated him. Long Chen knew that he would not give up, but Long Chen didn't care. There was no humility on the road of cultivation. I hope later, your mouth will be as hard as your kung fu. If I hurt 9-in, I'll put it here. I'll take your life. The bully man said coldly. 9-in injuries? 9 times by others, 9 times by others? You broke your name. You were born to be In. I'm curious. Who was In you for the other 8 times besides me? Dragon Dust asked. Although you have a hard mouth, how arrogant you are now and how embarrassed you will be in a moment. In Jiushang was not angry and sneered. Why am I embarrassed? Dragon Dust doesn't understand. You don't know what's going on here, so you broke in and have been locked by the robbery. It's so stupid. In 9 injuries sneer. Cut, isn't it just a robbery? Is it great? It's a mysterious group of ignorant guys. Dragon Dust disdains tunnel. It seems that you have confidence in yourself. At this time, someone spoke in the distance. As soon as he spoke, Long Chen immediately recognized his voice. The man was no other than Yen Tianhua of the 9U Python family in Haiyan. Yen Tian, who has Thunder Robbery Light Group, is several times larger than others. Because it is isolated by the power of heaven robbery, he doesn't speak, and Long Chen can't find his position. Of course I have confidence, otherwise I won't follow you all the way. I didn't expect to see so many old friends here. Hey, I really have to thank you. Long Chen said with a smile. To thank you, well, I'll pull out your 2 front teeth later, and our festival will be uncovered. How about it? Ha ha ha. Yen Tianhua laughed up to the sky. His laughter was surging, and the roar of thunder could not hide his laughter. Interesting, really interesting. Later, I hope I have a chance to experience your skills. I hope your skills can be as big as your tone. Yen Tianhua sneered. In his voice, there was a cold, killing intention. Obviously, Long Chen's words angered him, but he forgot that when he attacked Long Chen was more angry than him. Listen to your tone, it seems reluctant. I'm sorry. I take back what I just said. Dragon Dust Road. Waste, Yen Tianhua thought that Long Chen was afraid and couldn't help disdaining Tao. I take back my words, which means that the 2 front teeth can't satisfy me. I also want a snake skin to make a pair of leather boots for my daughter-in-law. If there is anything left, it's best for everyone to make a bag. Long Chen broke his fingers and seemed to be calculating the quantity. You want to die, Yen Tianhua roared, and Long Chen's words were a great humiliation to him. Your tone is not small. It shows that you are not timid. It is said that snake gall can brighten your eyes and clear the fire. When pregnant women eat it, their children's eyes will become particularly bright. I seem to have to consider leaving something for my future children. Long Chen tilted his head and seemed to be lost in thought. Dead? Yen Tianhua couldn't bear it. Suddenly his light group trembled suddenly, and a thunder spear came at the Dragon Dust. The thunder spear roared and was extremely powerful, but when it came to Long Chen, it seemed to be weakened by the mysterious power and was slapped and exploded by Long Chen. Oh, I see. Everyone will be restricted by the rules here when they cross the robbery here. If the robbery is not opened, no one can burst out his real power. Long Chen smashed Yen Tianhua's attack and understood the situation here for a moment. Long Chen didn't notice Yuzuheo's attack before. He thought Yuziheo was deliberately testing him, but he saw clearly that Yen Tianhua's attack was very strong, but most of his power was absorbed by Tianjia. In front of Long Chen, it was the end of the light crossbow. No wonder these people can live in peace here. Except for mutual fear, they don't want to waste their efforts because they can't threaten others at all. Since you can't attack me, hey, I have nothing to avoid. I said, man, you look like grandma doesn't kiss and uncle doesn't love. Where did that big X on your face come from? What does that thing mean? Is it to tell others that you are a stupid X? The light mass where the E9 injuries were kept trembling, but he was inside, but he couldn't come out. He was so angry that his teeth were going to bite. You know, this X-shaped scar is the biggest shame of his life, and Long Chen's words are ruthlessly tearing open his scar. What are you? Why don't you accept it? Come and bite me. The dragon dust stall is holding its hands. It looks like you can't help me. How angry it is, how angry it is. Are you the dragon dust, the leader of the Dragon Blood Legion? Just then, someone opened his mouth. He roared all over the world. He was like a Hong Zhong de LV, which shocked people's soul. Long Chen was surprised. This man's strength can't be underestimated. It seems that he is also a great figure. However, the dragon dust was still like a fool, with a faint tunnel. What do you say? I'm so sorry. I almost wiped out your dragon blood army before. The voice was faint. As soon as Long Chen heard this, his eyes were cold. He knew who the other party was. There's nothing to be ashamed of. After all, I won't be ashamed when I cut off your head. Dragon dust also followed the faint tunnel. It depends on whether you have that ability. However, I always believe that evil can never defeat justice. Your Dragon Blood Legion is an evil legion, trying to commit adultery with the women of the spirit family. I was caught by the Tianren family, but I killed my mouth. It should be noted that people are doing and heaven is watching. Any ugly act cannot be hidden forever after all. A person with evil heart can't defeat me. The voice was just and sincere. At this moment, Long Chen finally understood why Yu Zifeng's state of mind would be broken when he fought with him. This person is not only good at the art of deception, but also has a kind of bewitchment in his voice, which is very easy to infect people. This voice is easy to move people. Outsiders are easy to be biased by him, while the enemy is easy to be angry. Powerful, the sound of bewitching has reached this point. It seems that you are a soul master. Long Chen was not angry, but became calm. He was powerful and scheming. He was a powerful opponent. It's just a fact. Do you care about him? He doesn't dare to respond positively. Is he guilty of being a thief? The man snorted coldly. I've seen a lot of people like you. After all, I'm not Yu Zifeng. This move is useless to me. I'd better see Xinjiang under my hand. Let me experience how many unique skills the Tianren family has. Do you think so, Luo Changxing? The voice of dragon dust echoed between heaven and earth. When Luo Changxing's name was reported, it immediately caused a great sensation. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4660 Luo Changxing? Is he the super monster Luo Changxing of the Tianren clan? Someone exclaimed. The Tianren clan has not appeared for countless years. Is this person really from the Tianren clan? Someone questioned. It's true. The momentum of the Tianren family is extremely huge. It's obviously prepared. It seems that we want to take this opportunity to revive the reputation of the Tianren family. Someone explained. Who is this dragon dust? I've never heard of his name. How can I have a festival with so many terrorist beings? For a time, the spectators below were in an uproar. As soon as Long Chen arrived, he immediately became the focus of the whole audience. Who provoked and scolded who was arrogant against who, made his opponent angry and smoke from 9 holes, but he still couldn't help him. Now, the super strong men of the Terran family stand up and talk to them. Moreover, as soon as they speak, they are tense and domineering. When the sky robbery opens later, does it also mean that the war will also open? Now Long Chen came here. Through Yu Zihao, disciple Geng Jian of Luoshani, Minglong Tianzhao, Yin Jiushang and Luo Changsheng's dialogue with Long Chen, it is obvious that all of them are in a state of hostility, which makes those who watch the excitement feel extremely excited and look forward to the beginning of the disaster. There are too many unique skills of the Tianren family. However, no matter how many unique skills, there are no more than the dirty means of the Dragon Blood Legion. Even the kind-hearted spirit family women will not let go. This kind of animal behavior is despised. Luo Changxing said, My men are all lewd thieves, and the leader must not be good goods. No wonder he is so insidious and vicious. At this time, the disciple of Luo Tian Knight sneered. It's not only insidious and vicious, but also despicable. It's good for nothing except intrigue. Yu Zihao followed. Dragon Dust, I didn't expect you to be such a person. Everyone can kill you as a scum. Ming Long Tianzhao finally caught the chance to fight back. All evils lead the way, and you still deal with the kind spirit family. You're a hypocrite. You're disgusting. Nine Injuries also began his revenge. They don't know what happened, but as long as it is unfavorable to Longchen, they must strongly support it. Before, they were scolded bloody by Longchen and were unable to fight back. Now they finally seize the opportunity and start to help. Being slandered and accused by them, Long Chenming knew to be calm, but his anger kept rubbing up, and his fists were creaking. He has only one mouth, and there are 5 mouths on the opposite side. No matter how good Longchen's mouth is, it's useless. The cold, killing intention surges back and forth in Longchen's chest, as if to burst his chest. The most hateful thing is that countless spectators below began to talk to each other and point out to the Dragon Dust. It seems that they have confirmed the fact that the Dragon Blood Legion raped the spirit family women. Although Longchen is not a person who cares about fame and wealth, he knows that the Dragon Blood Legion is a holy sign. In particular, countless Dragon Blood soldiers are famous men who value honor more than life. They slander the Dragon Blood Legion with extremely vicious intentions. If this is spread, even if the Dragon Blood Legion is completely stigmatized, they will be pointed out wherever they go. Why don't you talk? Is it a guilty conscience? If you have regrets, you can end it here. Luo Changsheng's voice suddenly turned soft, as if it were a kind of good advice. When his voice came out, the anger in Longchen's heart could no longer be suppressed. Luo Changsheng's voice was transmitted through soul art. In fact, it was not a simple spell of bewitchment, but a strange magic power, which was unstoppable and unstoppable. That voice will stir up other people's anger, fear, inferiority complex, impatience, despair, and other negative emotions. No matter how strong your heart is, as long as your mind fluctuates, it will take advantage of it. Yu Zifeng was so successful at the beginning. Although Long Chen is not impatient, his violent anger can no longer be suppressed. It is ignited in a moment, and his violent killing intention is diffused in an instant. Buzz, between heaven and earth, an invisible and qualitative killing intention spread rapidly. The strong people present, whether in the core of the cloud robbery or in the large array, felt their souls tremble. Everyone looked at the light mass where the Dragon Dust was located with a look of horror. I don't know what conspiracy you have, or what opportunity you are waiting for. You can target me and slander me. But I absolutely don't allow anyone to slander the Holy Dragon Blood Legion and splash dirty water on my hot-blooded brothers. The voice of Dragon Dust, like the murmur of the devil, is cold and heartless, straight through the depths of people's soul, making countless people present feel numb on their scalp and cool on their backs. So what? Facts are facts. Luo Changxing said faintly. You deliberately slander my brother, which will make me angry. Dragon Dust Road. And then, Luo Changxing said, the world needs awe because once I get angry, I will be afraid myself. Dragon Dust Road. Haha. Luo Changxing laughed as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. The ignorant will be fearless. The reason why I am in awe of the world is because I know what I want to protect. I am afraid that she will be taken away. What I want to protect is not only their lives, but also their dignity and glory. You maliciously spread rumors, discredit, confuse right and wrong, pour dirty water on the Dragon Blood Legion, have evil intentions, and your heart can be punished. The voice of Dragon Dust is still low, without any emotion. Some are just endless killing intention. I'm just telling the truth, and you. Luo Changxing sneered. Shut up, Dragon Dust shouted angrily, and his low voice became high-pitched. Like a whispering devil, he suddenly roared loudly. With the naked eye, a sound wave was raging. The drums of the strong people present roared and burst, and countless people lost their hearing in a moment. But the response between heaven and earth can still reverberate in their minds. Shut up, shut up, shut up. At that moment, time seemed to stop. These 2 words kept circling in everyone's mind for a long time. At that moment, people's consciousness seemed to stop. I don't know how long it took before they slowly recovered. At that moment, everyone's face changed. They realized that the killing intention of dragon dust had condensed into essence and invaded their consciousness. This killing intention could not be resisted. The killing intention is an invisible blade honed by the lives of endless strong people. The strong people present read countless people, but they have never seen anyone condense the killing intention to this extent. Especially the strong men watching the battle below, their array boundary is in vain in front of the cold killing intention. If Long Chen attacked at the moment when they were distracted, they would not have enough lives. That's funny you. Luo Changxing sneered. Coax, however, his sneer was broken by a loud noise. He only heard a loud noise inside the dragon dust. The smell of the dragon dust was like a volcanic eruption and rushed into the sky. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4661. Haha, you idiot, you've got a plan. Before the time comes, you break through ahead of time. The natural disaster doesn't show. You won't be able to enter the god's statue for life, huh? At the moment when Long Chen began to break through, Yan Tianhua laughed. Not only did he laugh, but Yu Zihao, disciples of Luoshani, Minglong Tianzhao, Yin Jiusheng, Luo Changxing and others also laughed, as if they were looking at a fool. It turned out that they just released the breath of breakthrough here, but did not break the shackles, in order to wait for time. Before Yan Tianhua, he devoured others all the way. He used the unique magic power in his blood, and it was also not a real robbery. He led other people's natural disasters here, so his Thunder Light group was several times larger than others and became the most dazzling existence here, but even he dared not directly cross the disaster. The sky over their heads is full of robbery clouds. At this time, although they are saturated, they are in operation. If they are not in a static state, it is not the best time to cross the robbery. At this time, if someone crosses the robbery, it is impossible to move the reaction of the robbery cloud vortex. In that case, even if the robbery fails, the whole life will be over. They didn't expect that under the fury of Longchen, he did such a stupid thing. They immediately laughed and were very happy. Boom! But soon, their laughter was interrupted by the roar of terror. They were shocked to find that when the dragon dust broke through the shackles, the rotating cloud robbing vortex suddenly stopped. How is this possible? When the robbery stopped, Yu Zihao screamed. Calculated by time, there will be at least 2 days to stop. The disciples at sunset also exclaimed. Minglong Tianzhao, Yinjiu Injury and Luo Changxing were also stunned. Obviously, this was completely beyond their expectation. Will Rob Cloud really change because of him? Minglong Tianzhao looked frightened, and his eyes were burning with jealousy. At the same time, uneasy grew in his heart. Boom! Suddenly, Long Chen's body trembled. A divine light rushed into the sky, and the terrible force went straight into the vortex. The vortex was pierced by the divine light and blew out a huge hole. The hole was tens of thousands of miles around. When the hole appeared, the thunder like mercury in the hole was flowing wildly, like a water storage dam. A hole was poked, and endless thunder poured down. Boom! The thunder waterfall poured down and drowned the dragon dust in a moment. At that moment, everyone else's face changed. Boom, boom. These people no longer hesitated, broke through the shackles of the realm one after another, and then saw the divine lights rising up in the light group, breaking through the robbery clouds and revealing big holes. The holes pierced by these strong men are similar to dragon dust. It can be seen that these strong men are monster level, and their strength is extremely terrible. Boom! At this time, a loud noise came, and a big hole appeared in the vortex of robbery cloud, which was twice as big as the hole of dragon dust. Everyone looked for the thunder waterfall and found that the location was the location of Yan Tianhua. At this time, a thunderous cheer broke out in the camp of the 9U Python family in Haiyan. The heavenly little lord is the strongest. Haha. Yan Tianhua looked up to the sky and laughed. I am the man of destiny. The door of 9 days will finally be opened by me. The future 9 days world will be dominated by me. Ha! Yen Tianhua yelled excitedly. Obviously, he swallowed countless people's natural disasters before. He was released here and achieved a great advantage and walked alone. At that moment, other people's faces changed. Originally, they scoffed at Yen Tianhua's cheating technique, believing that it was a deception to heaven and could not muddle through, but unexpectedly, the gap opened in an instant. The heaven robbery has begun, but the gate of 9 days has not appeared, which shows that you are not a man of destiny at all. Someone sneered. The man sneered and immediately poured out Yen Tianhua's blood like cold water. He looked around and found nothing different, let alone the legendary gate of 9 days. His heart was sinking. It's impossible. It's clear that my natural disaster is the strongest. I'm the son of destiny. The 9-day channel can only be opened by me. The 9-weather luck will be blessed on me. Yen Tianhua shouted angrily. Everybody, it seems that there may be something wrong with the opening of the disaster in advance. It's better to kill him first and see if there will be any change. At this time, a strong man in the robbery proposed. For a time, countless strong men looked at Yen Tianhua one after another, and Yen Tianhua sneered. If you are not afraid of death, come on, my Black Rock Juyo Python family has the opportunity to revive the ancient style. The vision behind Yen Tianhua opened, and a sky-covering black python appeared. There was a rock armor on his body. The whole person's breath became cold and tyrannical, just like a deadly poisonous snake, staring at his opponent coldly. Kaka kaka. Just then, a strange noise came, as if something had broken. People were looking for prestige and couldn't help looking shocked. What? Above the head of Dragon Dust, there was a spider web crack in the robbery cloud. The crack was centered on the big hole in the head of Dragon Dust and was still spreading around. The robbery cloud is like solid ice. Others can only break through a circular hole, and then there is no movement. However, there seems to be endless power in the hole of Dragon Dust. The hole is too small to vent, and the robbery cloud is squeezed and cracked. Boom! Suddenly there was a loud explosion. A large area of the hole above the head of Longchen collapsed, and endless thunder poured down. The flow was dozens of times larger than before. At that moment, everyone was stunned. Kaka kaka. At this time, the abnormal noise continued, just like the sand on the dam. Once it leaked, it began to break the dam, and the clouds kept collapsing. The big hole in the head of Dragon Dust kept collapsing and getting bigger and bigger. That big hole, from the original tens of thousands of miles, kept spreading. In just one breath, it spread to hundreds of thousands of miles, and then millions of miles. At this time, the big hole on the top of Longchen's head has surprised everyone. The Tinjia cave of Yen Tianhua can't be compared with Longchen. The most amazing thing is that the robbery cloud on the top of Dragon Dust is still spreading and collapsing. There is no sign of stopping at all. It is getting bigger and bigger. It's impossible. Seeing being surpassed, Yen Tianhua was surprised and angry. A snake-shaped bone whip appeared in his hand. His big hand trembled and the soft whip was stiff, like a sharp sword, stabbing at the top of his head. Boom! With a loud noise, the robbery cloud above his head was pierced by a snake-shaped bone whip, widening the original big hole. Seeing this scene, Yen Tianhua was overjoyed. It turned out that the robbery cloud could be widened manually. With this discovery, he went up against the current and attacked the robbery cloud crazily. The entrance of the cave kept widening, and soon widened several times. Others were inspired and began to expand the natural disaster manually. To their surprise, this method was really effective. Yen Tianhua crazily widened his Tianjia cave and wanted to keep his advantage. He took the time to look at Longchen. As a result, his heart suddenly cooled. Longchen didn't broaden the Tianjia cave at all. The robbery cloud on his head had begun to collapse. The spider web crack directly extended to the end of his line of sight. The robbery cloud on his head collapsed and showed a funnel shape. The huge hole had reached tens of millions of miles. What's going on? Yen Tianhua was surprised and angry. He tried his best to open up the Tianjia cave and wanted to catch up with Longchen's progress. At this time, he found that the gap between them had reached a desperate level. Die! Yen Tianhua roared and threw the bone whip in his hand like a sharp sword. Ignoring the space distance, he stabbed the dragon dust straight. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4662. Yen Tianhua was furious and hit it with a whip, but he found that his blow could not break through the waterfall around Longchen. The sky robbery has just begun, and the law has not changed. The attack will be greatly weakened by the sky robbery. The farther the distance is, the more powerful it will be. Yen Tianhua's attack will not be weakened only when he attacks the cloud, but when he attacks the dragon dust, he can't cause damage. It's out of reach. Maybe it's the best interpretation of this attack. Seeing that the blow failed, Yen Tianhua was surprised and angry, and he was not the only one with the intersection of surprise and anger. The scope of the Tianjia where Longchen was located was becoming larger and larger, hundreds of times larger than each of them. No matter how big his disaster is, it's useless. The Gate of 9 Days still doesn't appear. Some people are sour and authentic. The door of heaven's robbery does not appear, which means that he is not a man of destiny. Boom! The thunder torrent poured down from the top of Dragon Dust's head. Dragon Dust was bathed in the disaster. He felt that the power of thunder was absorbed by dragon blood, and the vast qi and blood began to heat up gradually. The dragon blood in Longchen's body was in a dormant state. At this time, stimulated by the power of thunder, it began to wake up. After waking up, the dragon blood will frantically absorb the power of thunder and make itself hot. When the dragon blood is completely boiling, it will really integrate with Longchen's body. The original integration was just swallowing, and the robbery was really digesting and absorbing them, which is why the temperament of the dragon blood soldiers changed dramatically after the robbery. However, although the sky disaster is vast, the intensity is not enough. The dragon blood in the dragon dust is very hot. If it was before, the dragon dust would have begun to attack the cloud disaster to speed up the process. But this time, Longchen didn't dare to be reckless. He had a hunch that there would be many causes and effects to be liquidated in this natural disaster. If one could not be done well, it would be doomed. He wanted to keep his physical strength. Around the dragon dust, hundreds of millions of thunder dragons with a length of hundreds of millions of feet swim happily in the thunder waterfall like fish. Lei Linger is crazy absorbing the power of thunder. Before, when the Dragon Blood Legion crossed the robbery, Lei Linger could only swallow a little thunder power that others didn't want to solve her greed. Now, she can absorb it as much as she can. For her, the heaven robbery of dragon dust is a gluttonous feast. However, Lei Linger is very smart. She doesn't want to expose herself, so she turns herself into hundreds of millions of little thunder dragons. In this way, the breath is easy to hide. No one can find her in the disaster. Kaka kaka. With the passage of time, the robbery cloud above the dragon dust's head, like a broken ceiling, becomes overwhelmed and collapses constantly, and the scope of sky robbery is becoming larger and larger. After the failure of Yen Tianhua's attack, he began to try his best to broaden his Tianjia cave. After all, the Gate of 9 Days has not appeared yet. Everyone has the opportunity to become the son of destiny. And others are the same. No matter what kind of arrogance, monster, and noble identity they are trying their best to broaden their Tianjia cave at this time. On the 9 days, there are clouds like a cover, thunder waterfalls pouring down, and a sea of thunder has been formed on the earth. The scene is terrible. The Tianjia cave is wider and wider, and the thunder torrent is larger and larger. For a time, only waterfalls can be seen flying down between heaven and earth, and there are no robbers anymore. However, each waterfall represents a robber. There are hundreds of waterfalls, but the one of dragon dust is the most powerful. It is even more magnificent than all the torrents of others. At that moment, the strong people watching the war outside were silly at this time. They didn't expect that the strong man of the Terran had become the most powerful man here, which made countless strong men who were not good with the Terran extremely angry and jealous. So what? If the Gate of 9 Days doesn't appear, he's not the son of destiny. I'll kill him myself later. There is a sneer from the alien strongman, who is obviously very unconvinced by Longchen. The disaster hasn't officially started yet. It's just a prelude. It's a long-distance attack. It's meaningless to start leading. The key depends on who can laugh last. Yes, anyway, I don't believe that the weak Terran will be the son of destiny. They are only worthy to be slaves and blood food. A monster strongman sneered. For a time, there was a lot of discussion among the onlookers, all of which were aimed at Longchen. Obviously, they were full of jealousy and resentment towards Longchen. As time goes by, the prelude to the Tianjia is extremely long. After a whole day, the Tianjia has not made any action, and the thunder waterfall seems endless. Yan Tianhua in Jiushang, Yu Zihao, Minglong Tianzhao and others are still trying their best to broaden their Tianjia cave, but no matter how hard they try, the gap between them and Longchen is not narrowed, but farther and farther. This makes countless strong people angry. The only thing that makes them feel at ease is that the legendary 9-day gate has not yet appeared, which means that the universe is uncertain and everyone has a chance. During this period, some people tried to attack Longchen, but they all ended in failure, because any attack would be weakened by the natural disaster and could not penetrate the ordinary waterfall, let alone the boundless waterfall of Longchen. With the continuous expansion of Longchen's waterfall, it has reached hundreds of millions of miles. Longchen's waterfall has gradually approached others' waterfall, which has the meaning of swallowing each other. At that moment, someone's face changed. They didn't know if something terrible would happen if their Tianjia cave was swallowed up. Boom! In the eyes of countless people, under the spread of dragon dust sky robbery, the first sky robbery cave was finally swallowed up, and the practitioner who crossed the robbery was sucked into the thunder torrent of dragon dust. Kill! When the Tianjia cave was swallowed up, the practitioner was already ready. With a roar, he rushed to the dragon dust. The violent breath broke the endless thunder runes. It was an archaic divine bird, full of chi and blood. In the vision behind him, a pair of wings opened and tore thousands of ways. A huge golden claw probed into the dragon dust. One shot was the most fierce kill. This is also a cruel roll. He has accumulated strength for a long time. He is waiting for the moment of integration to display the strength of the killer, who belongs to the 9-star destiny, and pour it out in an instant. A small test of the ox's knife and the cloud dragon's claw. Dragon dust gave a cold hum, followed by the sound of dragon singing, which rang through the heaven and earth. The sacred and magnificent breath radiated for 9 days. A dragon claw poked out from behind the dragon dust and grabbed the archaic divine bird. Boom! With a bang, the sharp claws of the divine bird burst into a shower of blood at the moment when the two claws were opposite. What? Seeing this scene, people were shocked. It was a terrible 9-star destiny with pure blood and boundless combat power. Unexpectedly, his strongest magic power was defeated in an instant. The supernatural power of the archaic divine bird was broken, and a mouthful of blood gushed out. He immediately realized that it was bad, and his wings trembled and he was about to escape. Pa let his wings beat fiercely, but his body did not move, because a big hand had firmly grasped his neck. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4663. The strong man was shocked. The dragon dust was like a ghost. He didn't feel it at all. The key had been caught. Poof! Before the strong man made any response, the violent force directly shattered him and turned a generation of Tianjiao into a bloody rain. The scarlet blood, even the thunder rune, is dyed red. It's the blood of the peerless Tianjiao. It's shocking. At that moment, both the strong in the robbery and the external observers felt their hearts stopped beating in an instant. 9-star destiny, monster Tianjiao, died like this? At that moment, the whole world was quiet. They couldn't believe their eyes. The person to whom the destiny belongs is still the strongest among those who have the destiny. Such a person has an amazing lifestyle and will not die after thousands of risks. Many of them have seen the fierce battle between the 9-star destiny. The two super strong can break mountains and rivers, make the sun and moon shine, and fight for 7 days and 7 nights. But they never dreamed that the battle of the 9-star destiny could end in an instant. The most terrible thing is that he was still killed by one blow, and there was no room for struggle. No! At this time, in the next border, hundreds of thousands of strong men lamented that the strong man killed by dragon dust was the super strong man of their family. Originally, they had great confidence in the strong of their own family. Even before, someone said that their little lord would kill dragon dust. Now, killing is killing, but the role has changed. 9-star destiny? But so. Dragon Dust's big hand opened slowly. His hand was full of blood. It was the essence of the 9-star destiny, with strong destiny power and vast fluctuations. There is a strong will in the blood. Although others are dead, his will remains in the blood essence. If the blood essence is retained, the will last forever. Long Chen had a white handkerchief in his hand. He slowly wiped the blood off his hand, and then threw the handkerchief into the air. The handkerchief fell and wandered in the endless thunder. A handkerchief can be preserved in the disaster because of the protection of blood essence. The handkerchief fell slowly, and even floated directly in front of the strong people. Those people took the bloody handkerchief, one by one. You people who kill thousands of knives, one day, I will make you pay with blood. Someone roared. Then don't wait for that day. Dragon Dust cold hum. Suddenly, he grabbed it with his big hand, and the whole sky trembled, and a thunder sword burst out. Originally, the thunder sword was only 3 feet in Long Chen's hand. After breaking away from Long Chen's hand, it grew rapidly. When the thunder sword passed through the thunder waterfall, it had become the sword of the sky and stabbed at the group of people. However, those people were not afraid. Instead, they yelled at Long Chen and cursed Long Chen constantly, because they knew that under the law of Tianjia, all attacks would be weakened, and Long Chen's attacks could not reach here. However, they scolded, and the anger on their faces turned into panic, because the thunder sword, from small to large, had come to them. What? When seeing this scene, countless people exclaimed. Boom! The thunder giant's sword accurately pierced into the barrier where the group of people were located. The thunder giant's sword exploded in the crowd. Hundreds of thousands of strong people turned into nothingness in an instant in the exclamation of countless people. Even if they are advanced gods, even if they are destiny, they are still vulnerable to this attack. How is this possible? People can't believe it, especially the Ming Long Tianzhao, Yan Tianhua and others who have launched attacks in the Tianjia before. Their attacks have been weakened by the Tianjia, but the attack of Long Chen can reach the target, which is against the laws of heaven. What they don't know is that Lei Linger has absorbed the power of natural disaster and some laws of heaven. She is also half the master here. It's not difficult for her to pass on the power during the natural disaster. The most important thing is that Lei Linger's hundreds of millions of separate bodies compress the endless force of thunder into the long sword at the moment of sending out the thunder sword. Therefore, the power of this sword is so terrible, which is equal to the joint strike of Long Chen and Lei Linger. But others don't know the key. They think that dragon dust can violate the law of natural disaster, which is too scary. Boom! At this moment, heaven and earth trembled. At the end of the robbery cloud, the void kept twisting, as if something was going to break free from the void. In the constant distortion of the void, the outline of a portal can be vaguely seen. The gate of 9 days appears. Countless people exclaimed. The legendary 9-day gate appeared. At that moment, everyone's heart tightened. Behind the 9-day gate, the hidden world is the lost world. It depends on who can open the 9-day gate and become the darling of the lost world. Someone shouted excitedly. Boom! At this time, the sky robbery of Longchen is still expanding. Another strong man sky robbery is integrated with the sky robbery of Longchen. The strong man also launched an attack on Longchen at the first time. It was a giant with a height of 10 feet. He had only one eye. There was no grass on his head, but he had turtle shell lines. He held a long wrought iron stick. At the moment of the integration of heaven and disaster, he said nothing and hit the dragon dust with a stick. Countless runes on the bin iron long staff lit up and roared. The strong wind tore the void and opened endless cracks. It seemed that the sky was going to be destroyed by his staff. The power of the one-eyed giant was extremely terrible. Boom! To the horror of countless people, in the face of the one-eyed giant's stick, Long Chen waved his fist to welcome it. There was a loud bang, sparks splashing, and the sound of gold and iron ringing through the ages. Long Chen remained motionless, but the one-eyed giant was shocked by Long Chen's fist. Dang dang dang. The Cyclops stepped back 9 steps in a row, each step stepping on the void, but the void was like a broken ice surface, showing spider web cracks. When the Cyclops stood firm and looked at the long wrought iron stick in his hand, everyone couldn't help taking a breath of air conditioning. The long stick had been bent like a furnace hook. The scene was very funny, but none of the strong people present laughed. Their eyes were full of horror. When they looked at Long Chen had kept punching, and his fists were covered with bloody scales and glittering. One punch bent the magic soldier of the Cyclops, and on Long Chen's fist, there was only a faint white trace, which disappeared in an instant. God, what level of flesh is this? Take the holy soldier with bare hands? People were shocked that the weapon in the one-eyed giant's hand had a strong breath. It was a holy soldier. Such a terrible divine soldier was bent by a fist. Dead? The one-eyed giant was also very fierce. His weapon was smashed and bent, and the tiger's mouth bled, but he still roared and killed the dragon dust again. At the moment of his hand, the lines like tortoise shells on his head were covered all over his body, and the famine gas gushed out, and the strange flame wrapped him. Burning blood essence? People exclaimed that the Cyclops was so fierce that he burned his blood essence, which was going to fight with dragon dust. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4664, Boom, Boom. The one-eyed giant looked ferocious and roared. Every step he took, the whole world shook. He burned his blood essence, like a flaming giant, his blood gas soared to the sky, and the big iron stick in his hand smashed at the dragon dust again. Facing the one-eyed giant who burned blood essence and went all out, Long Chen's face was expressionless and slowly stretched out his big hand. What? He still wants to pick up the holy soldier empty-handed? People exclaimed. Boom! The explosion shook the sky, and the air waves overlapped. Even the pouring thunder was rushed in all directions by the terrible air waves, forming a huge thunder aura. In the center of the endless thunder aura, Long Chen and the Cyclops stood there. They didn't move, just like statues. But the spectators felt that their hearts could not jump. Long Chen's big hand grabbed the long stick that could split the mountain and the sea. Catch! Catch! People took a hard mouthful of water and felt it was difficult to breathe. They couldn't believe what they saw. Although they don't know the origin of the Cyclops, they know that he is a powerful man from his body shape and blood fluctuation. However, his strongest strength was so unbearable in front of Long Chen. In the face of him, Long Chen always faced him with one hand. After losing the other hand, he didn't do his best at all. Damn Terrans, how can they have such great power? I don't believe it. The Cyclops roared. Boom! He held the stick in both hands and tried to recapture it. The void under his feet was trampled with a roar, which seemed to explode at any time. The muscles on his arms were raised high, the runes circulated, and the green veins under his skin swam like small snakes. It was obvious that his strength had reached the extreme. However, the long staff was just like cast in the hand of Long Chen. He let him try his best to take it back, but he couldn't shake Long Chen's sense. Even the palm of Long Chen didn't shake. Give me! You humble Terran. The one-eyed giant's arms trembled and frantically grabbed the wrought iron long stick. Under great power, the long stick even began to bend. A giant, compared with a human race, the dragon dust looks so small, but it is as stable as a rock. His black hair danced and his robe floated, like a god coming to the world, unspeakable calm and dignity. Suddenly, Long Chen's hand loosened. The Cyclops who was trying to recapture it did not expect that Long Chen would suddenly let go. The long stick was recaptured, but the force was not enough. The long stick hit his forehead. Bang! With a loud noise, the Cyclops' head was splashed with sparks by an iron bar. It is reasonable to say that if such a terrible force hits, the Cyclops' head will burst like a watermelon. However, the Cyclops' head was very hard, and only a big bag swelled up. What a hard head! Some people exclaimed that the Cyclops was strong enough. However, although the head didn't explode, it was hit by its own strength, and the Cyclops was also hit with stars in his eyes. He didn't know the southeast and northwest. When the gloom in his mind disappeared, he saw that Long Chen had stood in front of his head, and a finger had been pointed in the center of his eyebrows. Dead, at the fingertips of dragon dust, a small flame lotus, which is only the size of the fingernail, suddenly stabbed in the middle of the one-eyed giant's eyebrows with the action of dragon dust. The Cyclops had only one eyebrow. The flame lotus hit the center of the eyebrow and pierced his frontal bone in a moment. Poof! The flame lotus stabbed in from the front and pierced out from the back of its brain, bringing out a blood rain. As soon as the blood rain appeared, it turned into solid ice and scattered between heaven and earth. The Cyclops grew up with his mouth and eyes full of confusion. He didn't even know how he died. His body fell slowly. In the process of falling, endless frost covered his body. When it fell to the ground, it turned into powder. Another terrible monster was killed, or in the simplest and most direct way. Similarly, there was no resistance. It's a big head, but it's full of bean curd residue. Dragon Dust slowly took back his fingers and looked at the ice debris scattered on the ground without expression. This man is powerful and has many runes. He should have many magical powers that he didn't use. Unfortunately, he wanted to crush the dragon dust with strength, but he kicked it on the iron plate. If Long Chen met him before he fused the blood essence of the mysterious dragon strongman, in terms of strength alone, Long Chen is really not an opponent. But even if he is not an opponent in power, Long Chen has 100 ways to kill him. However, when he integrates the blood essence left by the mysterious dragon family strongman, the power of the Cyclops is worthless in front of him. Long Chen understood the most primitive Brahma Sutra, had his own unique understanding, and improved the fire lotus. This super small fire lotus looks very small, but its lethality is amazing. Dragon Dust compresses the power of Fire Lotus to the extreme. This move compresses all energy together. When it is suddenly released, the power generated can destroy all living creatures. Its biggest advantage is the extreme compression, so that its strength will not leak out, and it is difficult for others to perceive its danger. Therefore, when Long Chen's fingers pressed against the one-eyed giant's eyebrows, he didn't have a sense of danger. Even when he died, he didn't know how he died. However, it has both advantages and disadvantages. That is, this extreme compression has a huge load on the physical body of the caster. The previous world-killing Fire Lotus was completed in the outside world, but this compressed world-killing Fire Lotus was completed in the body. The body is not strong enough to use this move at all, otherwise one can't do well, it will explode and die. However, the Dragon Dust's body can easily control this technique. Dragon Dust killed the terrible 9-star destiny again. This time, the whole audience was shocked. You know, Dragon Dust killed the first 9-star destiny. In fact, it was a little lucky, because the first strong shot was too confident in himself. He thought that Long Chen could not catch his blow at all and was not ready for a second hand, so he was defeated in an instant. But the Cyclops was different. It attacked the Dragon Dust twice in the simplest and most violent way, which was no coincidence. Killing the Cyclops shows that Long Chen's strength is far above him, and he is not afraid to fight with it. Boss, here we are. Dragon Dust killed the Cyclops and shocked the whole audience. When everyone focused on Dragon Dust, suddenly thousands of people broke off drinking in unison in the distance. When hearing this voice, a smile appeared on Long Chen's face. You're finally here. Then, it's time to settle your grievances. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4665, Buzz. As the sound fell, a flying boat broke through the air. When the flying boat moved forward, it did not move forward in a straight line, but suddenly disappeared and appeared. A few flashes came to the core area of the robbery. The strong people present were surprised. The flying boat was too strange. In the blink of an eye, the flying boat had arrived in front of them. The speed did not give them time to react. Haha, I finally caught up. It seems that the good play hasn't started yet. Vomit. Guaran jumped down from the flying boat excitedly, but he couldn't help vomiting. Others jumped from the flying boat, but their faces were not very good-looking. Some people couldn't help vomiting. It turned out that after the dragon dust left, the dragon blood soldiers immediately began to consolidate their accomplishments. When everyone's accomplishments had been completely consolidated, their breath was no longer leaked, and their bodies had adapted to the soaring power, they immediately galloped along the mark left by the dragon dust. In order to be in a hurry, Xiaochen used the most rough way of flying a boat. This is similar to a time shuttle flight. It stops for a while and flies for a while. It's like transmission is not transmission, and it's like flight is not a way of flight. People can't bear it. Explain it in Mandarin, it's just a little seasick. In fact, this flight mode is a means to escape from the bottom of the box in summer morning. This flight will cause a huge load on the body, and it will explode people if it is not done well. The last time I fought with the Tianren clan, the enemy bit too hard to use the flying boat, so it was useless that time. This time, Xiaochen used it, but he didn't expect that the load was bigger than he thought, which made everyone very uncomfortable. However, the speed was amazing. It took only 2 hours to catch up with Long Chen for several days. It's the Dragon Blood Legion. You obscene thieves are not dead. When Guaran and others arrived, someone immediately recognized their identity. These people had participated in the encirclement and suppression of the Dragon Blood Legion. The so-called enemy meeting was particularly jealous. Mom, you're a whore. Your whole family is a whore. Guaran was so angry that he scolded. At the beginning, it was the Tianren family who wanted to plot against the Spirit family, but now he buckled the excrement basin on the head of the Dragon Blood Legion. Guaran is calm and looks at the boss first. Xiaochen grabbed Guaran. Afraid of his excitement, he immediately started to destroy the boss event. Let's do it together and kill these despicable adulterers. Xiaochen held Guaran, but the strong men of other ethnic groups rushed to the Dragon Blood Legion like a tide. It seems that they want to wipe out the Dragon Blood Legion. What makes the Dragon Blood Legion angry most is that countless strong people here have no grievances or enemies with them, but they also participate in it. Brothers! At this time, the voice of Dragon Dust resounded through the world through endless thunder. Any slogan is an excuse. They are afraid of me and want to kill you, distracting me. Our Dragon Blood Legion is not a saint, and we never want to be a saint. We just want to live with dignity. If anyone wants to kill us, we will make them pay the price of bleeding. We never bully others and will never be bullied by anyone. Since they want to die, don't mention it. Let's help them. Let them know what awe is and what fear is. The voice of Dragon Dust, like the decree of the Emperor of Heaven, is still clearly transmitted to everyone's ears and to the depths of the soul, even in the roar of endless thunder. For the Dragon Blood Legion, Dragon Dust's words are orders, and every time Dragon Dust gives orders, it will make their blood boiling and their war intention surging. Kill all those who light weapons to you, and let the world see the strength of the first legion in the world. Dragon Dust's last words completely broke out the Dragon Blood Legion. They felt that their blood was surging up. If they didn't vent out, they would explode and die. Guaran roared, "Brothers, it's time to become famous. We want to make the name of the Dragon Blood Corps resound in every corner of the world." Kill, the Dragon Blood soldiers roared. In the face of thousands of times of enemies, they had no fear but endless killing. These Dragon Blood soldiers, flying to the fairyland, suffered all kinds of hardships just to return to the Dragon Blood army one day and follow the boss to fight in all directions. Now they are finally reunited. In the face of the arrogance of all ethnic groups and the enemies of 10 parties, the accumulated emotions in their hearts are released in an instant and killed madly. Dragon Blood Battle Body, open. The Dragon Blood soldiers roared in unison. The roar of more than 7,000 Dragon Blood soldiers coincided with the roar of the dragon. At that moment, heaven and earth shook together and heaven and earth changed color. Blood-colored scales cover the whole body of the dragon blood soldiers, and their breath becomes sacred and magnificent. At this time, they are the real dragon blood soldiers. Puff, puff. When the enemies in all directions flooded the dragon blood legion like a tide, in the violent roar, flesh and blood flew, and the remnant limbs danced wildly. Countless strong people were forcibly torn to pieces by the dragon blood soldiers. Boom, boom. Countless weapons were chopped on the dragon blood soldiers and could not break the defense at all. Some weapons were smashed by the dragon blood soldiers, and countless broken soldiers were scattered on the ground. What? Countless strong men were stunned. They didn't expect that Longchen could pick up the holy soldiers with bare hands, and this group of Longchen's men could do it. Puff, puff. When some dragon blood soldiers saw that someone's weapons were good, they directly grabbed them. With weapons, they were even more powerful. With one sword, the enemy fell in pieces. Heroes of other races, don't be spectators. The Dragon Blood Legion is evil and insidious. Everyone can kill them. Work together to eradicate the scourge. Seeing the Dragon Blood soldier so brave, Luo Changxing shouted in the disaster. At this time, he didn't forget to splash dirty water on the Dragon Blood Legion. Kill. Luo Changxing's voice had a powerful meaning of bewitching. As soon as he opened his mouth, countless strong men rushed frantically to the Dragon Blood Legion. The strong men of all ethnic groups in the distance are also speeding up to bypass the sky robbery and kill the Dragon Blood soldiers. However, the scope of the sky robbery is too large. They want to go around and they can't do it in a moment and a half. If they want to take a shortcut, they need to go through the natural disaster. Obviously, they don't have the courage and don't dare to cross the minefield. Be careful, one of the Dragon Blood Legions is Sword Xiu, named Yu Zifeng, who is known as the first Sword Xiu in the world. Although he was defeated by me, his strength is extremely strong. I don't know if you have that strength to defeat him and take away his title of the first sword repair in the world. Luo Changxing shouted. You Zifeng have the seed to fight. I have to say that Luo Changxing's art of bewitching is too powerful. As soon as his voice fell, someone rushed up and began to call on Yu Zifeng. Yu Zifeng's face was indifferent in the core of the Dragon Blood Core. The long sword was still in the scabbard and had no intention of pulling out the sword at all. He just looked at Luo Changxing calmly and indifferently. Luo Changxing was looked at by Yu Zifeng. He couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. He was shocked to find that Yu Zifeng seemed to have changed a person, and his art of bewitching was invalid for him. You know, when Yu Zifeng was defeated by him, he was bound to have heart demons, but at this time, he was calm and frightening. Looking at him was like looking at a stranger, and his mood did not change at all. If you can survive under the boss, Yu Zifeng is willing to play a second game with you. However, unfortunately, I don't think there is much hope. Yu Zifeng shook his head and sighed. Yu Zifeng's sigh awed the hearts of countless strong people present. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4666. Yu Zifeng's voice is very light and calm, but in the countless roars and endless thunder, it can be clearly transmitted to the public, as if Yu Zifeng was lying in their ears. The most terrible thing is that when you hear Yu Zifeng's voice, you can obviously feel that the fierce sword intention has eroded their soul will, as if there was a sharp sword on their neck. It was as if he could kill people if his mind moved. The feeling that life was not controlled by people shocked these super strong people. No one is weak, but the strong among the strong, and the monsters among the monsters. They can feel this person's horror just by hearing Yu Zifeng's words. However, such a terrible person is willing to work for others. He claims that the man named Longchen is the boss. How strong should this Longchen be in order to make such people submit? In addition, Yu Zifeng's sigh was full of regret, which was definitely not pretended, because the arrogant sword repair disdained to cheat. In other words, he wanted to fight with Luo Changxing twice, but this wish could not be realized after all. According to his tone, it was difficult for Luo Changxing to survive from the hands of Longchen. Everyone knows that Zhenxiu is arrogant. They disdain to play conspiracy and means, and they won't play any hard attack. When he says so, it means that he thinks so. I didn't expect you to be able to bend and stretch, which I admire very much. Unfortunately, a proud sword repair is a greedy and lustful man who can't achieve the right way after all. Luo Changsheng also sighed and looked sorry. In the face of Luo Changsheng's slander, Yu Zifeng looked indifferent and his tone was still calm. Similarly, I won't be fooled for the second time. You don't have to waste your time. You'd better stay strong and think about how to survive in the hands of my boss. I pray for you. At this time, a strong man with a long sword came to Yu Zifeng with a sword in the air. He was also a master of kendo. He could break through the blockade of dragon blood soldiers. He was by no means an ordinary person. Hiss! The sword chi was like a flying rainbow and stabbed straight at Yu Zifeng. Yu Zifeng looked at the sword chi and didn't move. Seeing that the sword chi was about to penetrate Yu Zifeng's eyebrows, the dragon blood soldiers exclaimed. They couldn't figure out why Yu Zifeng didn't fight back. However, a scene that shocked everyone appeared. The sword chi stabbed 3 inches in the center of Yu Zifeng's eyebrows and couldn't stab it anymore. The man's face changed greatly. When Yu Zifeng looked at him, he felt that his world fell into stillness, as if he had been isolated from the world by a strange force. As a sword repairman, I still care about the worldly reputation. You don't deserve the sword in your hand. Yu Zifeng looked at the man and said coldly, "Who?" Suddenly, Yu Zifeng's big hand opened and a long sword appeared in his hand. People were surprised to find that the long sword in his hand was the man's weapon. No one could see what method Yu Zifeng used to seize the other person's sword in the air. One man and one sword are both teachers and friends. He doesn't deserve to be your partner. Go and find a partner who can be sincere to you. Who? Yu Zifeng waved his big hand and the long sword came out. A flying rainbow tore the void and disappeared in an instant. At the moment when the long sword disappeared, its original owner turned into fly ash in an instant. Similarly, no one saw how Yu Zifeng killed this person. The strange picture frightened countless people. Seeing this scene, a smile appeared at the corners of Long Chen's mouth, with admiration in his eyes. Yu Zifeng didn't disappoint him. After a setback, he stepped into a higher realm of kendo, which even he couldn't understand. Zifeng, I'll leave it to you. Dragon Dust Road. Boss, just let go of the war. I'm here. Don't worry about everything. Yu Zifeng nodded to Long Chen. Hearing the dialogue between them, countless strong people outside immediately felt their scalp numb. It seemed that something big was going to happen. Luo Changsheng, do you remember what I said before? Long Chen turned to look at Luo Changsheng. The calm, wise and strategic demeanor of Long Chen disappeared in an instant. Instead, it was bloodthirsty, violent and cold. At this time, the dragon dust, like a raging devil, has exposed its scarlet fangs and clenched the butcher's knife. At that moment, the strong people present were infected by the cold, killing intention of the dragon dust and felt a shudder of their soul, which is an instinctive fear of death. I said that you can target me and challenge me, but you should not throw dirty water on the Dragon Blood Legion. You should not frame my Iron Brothers, nor should you desecrate the signboard of the Dragon Blood Legion. Long Chen looked at Luo Changsheng, word by word. Every word jumped out of Long Chen's teeth with bloody hatred. So what? Luo Changsheng sneered. Since your bewitching skill is no longer effective for Zifeng, I don't need to bear it. To tell you the truth, you are a very disgusting guy. Confuse right and wrong, spread rumors and discredit others. It's obviously sinister and vicious, but I have to pretend to be a gentleman. I hate people like you most in my life. Because people like you have no humanity, no bottom line and can use any despicable means, so today, I won't let you leave alive. Long Chen's face is gloomy. He has a murderous heart for Luo Changsheng. Obviously, Yu Zifeng knew Long Chen very well and knew that Long Chen would kill Luo Changsheng today. Therefore, he had the words before. Long Chen read countless people, but he knew that a mean man like Luo Changsheng was the most dangerous. He had to be killed if necessary, otherwise there would be endless trouble. He could not risk leaving him to Yu Zifeng. Haha, the leader of a shameless legion, A group of guys who will have evil thoughts towards holy and kind spiritual women dare to stand on the commanding height of morality and accuse me? Do you think people here will believe you? Luo Changsheng laughed. In the face of Luo Changsheng's ridicule, Long Chen said coldly, I know that the highest level of bewitching is to deceive yourself. It doesn't matter. I won't defend anything. When I say this, I just want to tell you that you will die today. In a moment, you can use whatever means you have. Otherwise, don't blame me for not giving you a chance. You'll see what you can do to talk big. Luo Changsheng also seemed to be aroused by anger. He was also the performance of unparalleled Tianjiao, Yu Zifeng and Long Chen, which also made him angry. Then open your eyes and have a good look. Don't be scared to pee your pants. Dragon Dust broke his drink, and a huge thunder blade appeared in his hand and cut it out with one blow. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4667 The Thunderblade in Long Chen's hand cuts the robbery cloud in the sky. The long sword goes up against the current and cuts down the Xinghe River. I see a flash of light across the sky. The robbery cloud in the sky is cut by Long Chen's sword. The hole was not deep, but it was very long. It ran through the coverage of the whole robbery cloud. When he saw that the sword cut by Long Chen was only so powerful, Luo Changsheng was about to make a mockery, and suddenly the whole robbery cloud shrank suddenly. Then, the violent will of destruction radiated. If Tianjie was an examiner, he just numbly followed the rules and monitored the exam. The sword of dragon dust seemed to give the examiner a big slap in the face. The whole Tianjie was in a mood of destruction. At that moment, everyone in Tianjie changed his face. They are the strongest destiny and the darling of heaven and earth. The Tao of heaven is like their mother. Now, their mother seems to have become a stepmother. They can no longer feel their mother's tenderness. All they can feel is their violent desire for destruction. Dragon Dust offended Tianjie. Tianjie seemed to have lost his mind and wanted to destroy Dragon Dust, and they were also involved and wanted to be destroyed together. You are really a sinister and vicious man. Do you want to take advantage of the natural disaster and kill us together? Your idea is very good, but it is very stupid. Seeing this scene, Luo Changsheng sneered. Dragon Dust, I thought you had some good moves. It seems that I think highly of you and want to deal with us with heaven's robbery? It's so funny. At this time, Yu Ziheo also ridiculed. It's so stupid that we can't help it. We are the top destiny and the people to whom the destiny belongs. How can the way of heaven be aimed at us? You're just looking for your own death. Yu Ziheo spoke, and the disciples next to him also spoke. Although the dragon dust angered the sky robbery, they felt great pressure, but they had spent so many sky robberies. They didn't believe that the heaven would target them. They are real destiny people, just like Yen Tianhua who dares to devour others' natural disasters. This is a violation of the law of heaven, but heaven still tends to him without any cause and effect. This is the treatment of 9-star destiny people. They may be afraid of others, but they are not afraid of natural disasters. Kaka kaka. Dragon Dust ignored their ridicule. After he hit, he waited quietly. Soon, the robbery cloud on the 9 days began to collapse and disintegrate, and the huge hole on the top of Dragon Dust collapsed in an instant and spread rapidly around. Boom! One after another, the 9-star destiny's Tianjie cave is swallowed up. They are integrated with the Tianjie of Dragon Dust. If they cross the robbery under the same thunder, they will not be disturbed by the law of Tianjie and can attack each other. A creature with 2 wings on his back and 1 horn on his head seemed not to believe in evil. At the moment of integrating into the Dragon Dust disaster, he gave a cold drink and killed the Dragon Dust with a long gun in his hand. When the creature shot, it summoned a vision, which covered the sky. Before others could see what the vision was absorbed by the long gun in the creature's hand. Buzz, the creature appeared in front of the Dragon Dust like a ghost through the void, and the spear stabbed the Dragon Dust in front of him. Pa! Facing the creature, Long Chen stretched out his big hand and grabbed the tip of the gun. Ah, you've been fooled. That. When the Dragon Dust caught the primate gun, the creature laughed, the one corner of his head suddenly lit up, and a divine light came at the dragon dust. At this time, people realized that the creature was scheming, and the spear was just to attract the attention of Long Chen. His real killing move was the one horn on his head. However, as soon as the creature's attack was launched, someone screamed in the distance. The creature thought others were amazed by his move, but he didn't see that when he shot, a big hand covering the sky above their heads had covered him with dragon dust. The huge palm had 6 fingers. When it fell, the suffocating power came, and the divine light emitted by the living creature dimmed for a moment. What? The creature was shocked. It was a blow gathered by his strength all his life. He didn't know how many strong enemies he killed. How many times he turned defeat into victory because of this move. Today's move unexpectedly collapsed inexplicably. At this time, he noticed that there was a big hand with 6 fingers on his head. He immediately wanted to retreat. At the moment he retreated, he remembered that the long gun in his hand was held by Long Chen and he wanted to recapture it with force. However, at the moment he recaptured it, he was shocked to find that his strength seemed to be imprisoned by some law. The power of the 6 ways, the hand of God. When they saw the big hand, the faces of the dragon blood soldiers changed. At the beginning, they crossed the boundary with the dragon dust. At last, the big hand appeared and almost killed the dragon dust. Now the big hand appeared again, and it appeared at the first blow. Although they all know that the boss natural disaster must be the most violent natural disaster, they didn't expect it to be so cruel. Buzz, 6 fingers and big hands clapped at the dragon dust and the creature. At that moment, even the hearts of the dragon blood soldiers were tightened, because they knew how terrible the blow was. Boom! With an explosion, the huge palm was firmly photographed on Longchen and the creature. Longchen had no defensive action, but what everyone didn't expect was that the palm fell and Longchen didn't move, but the big hand was pierced by Longchen's body. The big hand slapped on the ground, the earth shook and the world trembled. The power of this blow frightened countless people. People looked at the dragon dust. The dragon dust still stood on the void, with long hair flying and clothes floating, unspeakable calm and arrogance. He still held the long gun in his hand, but on the other side of the long gun, the one-horned creature disappeared. He was patted into powder by the hand of God. The hand of God is still printed on the earth. The hole in the huge palm is shocking. People look at the hole and dragon dust, and their hearts are cold. At this moment, even Luo Changsheng and others' faces changed. Before, they thought that the natural disaster would not target them, let alone kill them. However, this slap completely made them recognize the reality. The dragon dust was safe, but the 9-star destiny disappeared. It was amazing. With the fall of the hand of God, the robbery cloud on the 9 days has completely collapsed. Now, we can no longer see the robbery cave, and everyone's robbery has been connected together. Ooh, dragon dust waved his big hand, and the long gun in his hand was like a streamer. He went straight to Gu Yang through the sky robbery. Thank you, boss. Gu Yang was overjoyed. He caught the long gun thrown by Long Chen. His previous long gun was blown up. Now he has a new weapon, which makes him even stronger. Ta-ta! Long Chen stepped on the void and walked step by step to Luo Changxing in the distance. His voice was cold and heartless. Ready for death? You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Chapter 4668. With each step taken by dragon dust, the whole world trembled. On the 9 days, thunder surged like a mountain torrent roaring, as if ready to break out the next attack. Dragon dust is standing in the sky robbery. At this time, he is like the controller of the sky robbery. He is the master here. No one can fight against him. You are so crazy. Do you think you can compete with the great heavenly and human race by these means? In the face of Long Chen's aggressiveness, Luo Changsheng finally became angry. He is the favored son of heaven. He has been high up since childhood. Now he is so despised by dragon dust. Even if his mind is deep, he still can't help his anger. This is the same as when he framed the Dragon Blood Legion. Long Chen also knows the other party's intention and knows that they should not be angry, but they are all human beings. If they are human beings, they will have shortcomings. The arrogance of the strong makes their endurance very low. Crazy needs crazy capital, and I happen to have this capital. Dragon dust moves towards Luo Changxing step by step. On the top of dragon dust, endless thunder surges, as if brewing a big move. But Long Chen didn't even look at the disaster at all. His pace was calm, like walking in a leisurely court, as if everything was under control. Don't you want to do it yet? You're still thinking of ghosts, provoking others to do it, and making people tremble in the fire? Don't dream, they are not fools and won't be bewitched by you. Like you, they all want to make the last move and let others test my cards. No lamp can save fuel if they can come here to cross the robbery. They are different from those fools outside. The Tianren clan is as motionless as Wang Ba, but they fight hard with others as they beat chicken blood. Dragon Dust's tone was sarcastic, and his voice spread all over the world. Outside, the dragon blood soldiers are killing in full swing. The battlefield is full of bones and blood. The dragon blood soldiers are brave and invincible. However, there are too many enemies to kill. The strong ones, like the tide, rush to the Dragon Blood Legion. The Dragon Blood Legion killed one piece and another. The more the enemy killed, the more they killed. But the Dragon Blood soldiers are fearless. They all have red eyes, vent their anger heartily, and have endless strength in their bodies to kill madly. However, when Long Chen's words came out, the strong people in the periphery couldn't help turning their heads and looking at a camp in the distance, which was the camp of the strong people of the Tianren family. Tens of millions of Terran strongmen are shrinking in the camp at this time, just like nobody else, watching them fight quietly. When they saw this scene, these strong men suddenly became angry. It was their intention to kill the Dragon Blood Legion. They wanted to strive for opportunities for their Tianjiao, disturb Long Chen's heart and destroy his mood. But it was Luo Changxing who called on them. Luo Changxing's slogan was very loud, but his people did not move, which made them angry and felt that they had been teased. Tianren bastard, if you dare to watch the excitement again, we'll kill you with the Dragon Blood Legion. Someone roared. The strong men of the Terran family, they were very reluctant to go out of the barrier and rush to the Dragon Blood Legion. At this time, a group of giants killed them. That group of giants, with one eye, is the same family of the giant killed by Dragon Dust. When their Tianjiao died, they vented all their anger on the Dragon Blood soldiers. Kill the Dragon Blood Legion. A Cyclops roared and roared with a warhammer. His breath was terrible. The weapon in the hand of a Dragon Blood soldier was shattered by him. He rushed forward with the power of one blow to tear open the defense of the Dragon Blood Legion. Just then a figure stopped him. The man was no one else, it was Guoran. At this time, Guoran stood with his hands down and looked coldly at the one-eyed giant. Fool with bean curd dregs in his head, how dare you talk big? Dead? The Cyclops roared and smashed the huge hammer at Guoran. With a little brute force, dare you speak wildly? With your hammer, if I block it, I will lose. Guoran sneered. Then, in the eyes of countless people, Guoranjin stood there honestly, motionless, and let the Cyclops hammer hit his head. Boom, with a bang, the one-eyed giant's hammer burst to pieces, leaving only one handle. One eye of the giant was full of horror. At that moment, he was completely stunned. Did you reply? While talking, Guoran brushed the steel debris on his body with his hand. It was like sweeping away the dust on his body. It was so relaxed and indifferent. Shit, damn it, he installed it. Gu Yang and others were speechless for a while. It was his turn to pretend to force. Guoran was the first person in the Dragon Blood Corps, and the timing was perfect. At this time, on the whole battlefield, everyone's eyes focused on Guoran. At this moment, Guoran even stole the limelight of Long Chen. This feeling of attention made Guoran happy, but he couldn't show it. He still pretended to be indifferent and shook his head. Is this what you call power? Stupid guy. Dead? The Cyclops roared with strange lines on his fist, and smashed it at Guoran. Boom, as a result, the one-eyed giant burst with blood, and his huge body was shocked to fly out. Cool, Guoran shouted in his heart that the invincible defense of the Qianlong family made him feel unprecedented excitement. If he didn't make good use of this move, he wouldn't be called Guoran. Even my defense can't be broken. You mole ants are not qualified to let me do it. Alas, invincible is so lonely. Guoran looked up at the sky and sighed. As much as he didn't beat. Go to hell. Guoran's arrogance angered countless people. They killed Guoran one after another. However, whether it is a magic power or a weapon, it falls on Guoran and is bounced off one after another. If the weapon is cut down and does not remove its power, the magic weapon will be broken in an instant. The defense of the Qianlong family is simply abnormal. They are invulnerable to weapons and water and fire. Guoran stood there and let the other party attack. He didn't fight back, but he kept talking and humiliating the other party. Those people were so angry that they were going to explode, but he couldn't help Guoran. In fact, Guoran doesn't want to fight back, but he can't fight back. After integrating with the dragon soul of the hidden dragon family, he will have so many kinds of dragon magic powers except the dragon blood battle. These magical powers can only be used in cooperation with the diving dragon. The diving dragon is so lazy that he sleeps in his body. He is not threatened by his life and can't wake it up. His armor was destroyed in the last war with the Tianren clan, and his weapons were exploded. He is not good at close combat. In order not to reveal his secrets, he can only hurt the other party with his mouth and gun. Show your weapon. Otherwise, you won't have a chance. At this time, in the disaster, Long Chen has come to Luo Changsheng's face. The cold killing has locked Luo Changsheng. You can read the novel online free at Novel Hall. Calm that you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.